The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, he just doesn't know what to do with a baby. Welcome, Jacob.
Do you hold them? Do you throw them around? Do you put them in a pot? I don't know what. Why? Thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who just had to relieve himself in a pool. Welcome, Drew.
I have watched many a Jim Henson film over the years. I never, in any of them, ever expected to see a puppet relieving himself. Just saying. Yes. Just saying. Also joining us tonight is a good friend of ours who was willing to help us at the last minute when unfortunately we had to change of plans. Welcome, Steph.
Hi.
Yes, unfortunately our original guest for this evening, Chase, was unable to make it. So at the last minute we put out a call and Steph answered that call.
Yes,
yeah, we are reviewing tonight Labyrinth. A movie I've only watched 3 times.
3 times?
Yes, 3 times.
Huh.
So, yeah.
So it's not one of these films you watch every month, every year?
You're the one who claims he watches movies every year.
Yeah, I don't do it that often anymore, but okay.
Yeah, because you realized you'd hit 52 movies that you watched a year, and you don't watch 52 movies a year.
That is true. That is true. I try to expand what I try to watch.
Especially now that you have a podcast that forces you to watch.
Oh my gosh, yes, you're not kidding. You are not kidding.
Exactly. So, why don't we go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free thoughts for this?
Certified fresh and spoiler free.
Steph, why don't you go ahead and start us off with this?
Okay, cool. Let's see. This movie is bizarre.
A little.
There is some moon logic in this.
So this is one that I watched with friends in high school, and I've watched it again periodically. And you know, it's weird. It's a musical. There's puppets. So I mean, if you have a particular fondness for those 3 things at once, it's great. And you know, it's Jim Henson, so you know that the puppetry and everything is going to be awesome, and it is. I was going to make a comment about the music, but I don't know if that's spoilery, so I will leave that to myself.
I mean, was it a general like or a dislike?
Oh, I like the music a lot. I actually watched it again today and realized how much I love the music.
All right. Jacob, what are your spoiler-free thoughts?
My spoiler-free thoughts, I didn't watch this movie as a kid, because probably my parents thought it was too weird when it came out, and plus it came out 86?
85.
85. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm as old as this film.
Yeah, 86 actually. Came
It's
out
in 86, yeah. I only know because I looked at the... Yeah.
The copyright date is 85.
Okay.
Oh, weird. On the credits when I saw it today, it said 86.
I could have sworn it said 85.
Yeah, it's 86. It came out in 86. So
somewhere I looked at it said 85.
Potato.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mash and boil them, put them in a stew.
Thank you.
Potatoes. Okay.
We'll talk about that later, but anyways. So my first experience of watching this movie was, of course, in college. Because I had some friends, like nerdy friends. I was in arts, friends who were in club and drama and the whole bit. And they're like, oh, you got to watch Labyrinth. So I watched Labyrinth, and I'm like, what in the world is this? This is interesting. This is cool. But it's so weird. So weird. It's so 80s, but it's so good 80s. And I bought it. I bought it on physical media because I'm a physical media guy. But overall, be like, I thoroughly enjoy this movie, even though some of it's a little bit weird, esoteric, a little bit here and there. But overall, it is a really good film. I thoroughly enjoyed it and recommend it to anybody. There again, be like, you're going to run into a lot of weird because it is the 80s and it's talking about sci-fi and fantasy and the whole bit. And yeah, it's a good movie to me. So yeah, what do you think, Drew?
Like I said, this is my 3rd viewing. I grew up watching the Muppets.
Yeah.
But the other Jim Henson puppet properties that were not Muppets, for whatever reason, we never got around to watching. I suspect Dark Crystal might have been a little too spooky, was probably the thought.
A little bit.
And this one, well, I know my mom's not a fan of David Bowie's music. And so that probably doesn't help.
Probably not.
And I probably never would have expressed interest in this when I was growing up either, if I even knew it existed.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't even know this movie existed until I was listening to another podcast 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
If you can believe podcasting has been around for 20 years.
Yeah,
Right?
you're not kidding.
But there was another podcast I used to listen to called Film Sack, where they reviewed stuff that was, on Netflix, so you didn't have to go find it yourself. And they talked about Labyrinth once. And I was like, I'd never heard of it before I listened to that review. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get a chance of watching this film until about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
When I just happened to see that it was that Fathom Events was showing it.
Oh,
so my first viewing of this was in a theater.
Oh my, so jealous.
Cool.
So jealous.
Get a lot of details.
I went and bought the Blu-ray when it was available. It's right back there. The 30th anniversary. And of course, since I bought the film, I watched it again because it's kind of silly to buy a film and then not watch it. I say, knowing how many cellophane wrapped DVD and Blu-ray cases I have.
Same.
Including the half of Ultraman over there.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I'm looking at it right now. It's like half of them are still wrapped.
Yeah, half of them are still wrapped because I'm still on the second series. But I got it then, and then of course I watched it today. The puppetry in this is very good, as I'm sure we'll get into. This is not my favorite Jim Henson film.
Oh, really?
I may be the dark horse on this one tonight.
Okay.
But we will see. This is a good film. It's just not my favorite.
Sure.
So
question: what is your favorite Jim Henson film?
Ooh.
Probably Great Muppet Caper.
Okay.
Mine's the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Okay, that's my favorite Muppet movie. I'm going with Jim Henson directed.
Right, got it.
And Jim Henson was dead, unfortunately, by Muppet Christmas Carol. So
yeah, that's true.
But Jim Henson did direct Great Muppet Caper, and that is my favorite of the old school Muppet movies.
Right.
So, of the original trilogy, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Follow that bird.
Yeah.
Yes.
Paul, we already talked about Follow That Bird. You were there.
That's funny.
So, yeah. On that note, I guess we are ready to spoil this thing.
Yes.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film Labyrinth. Listener discretion is advised. Labyrinth was written and directed by Jim Henson, who also wrote and directed Dark Crystal. Mm-hmm. And it was also written by Dennis Lee and Terry Jones. Yep. Getting into the cast, we've got David Bowie, of course, as Jareth, the Goblin King. Mm-hmm. And he's a rock singer, because I could not find another role that made sense outside of his actual job.
Yeah, but he's dabbled in
he's in a couple of things, but none of them were noteworthy enough to mention.
Fair.
Outside of all of his music videos.
Right.
True.
Yep. I know he was a voice in SpongeBob once.
He was.
I didn't know that.
I think I saw also that he was in something else. That was relatively recent. I can't remember what it is now. Anyway, Jennifer Connelly played Sarah, and in Top Gun Maverick, she played Penny Benjamin.
Yes. Good movie. Go see it, people. Go watch it.
Yeah, I still got to see that. I'll have to rent it.
Toby Froud played Toby.
Oh, that's cute.
The baby. Does have an IMDb, and actually a pretty extensive IMDb, believe it or not.
Really?
But it's not as an actor, as this is his only acting credit.
Okay.
And what he is doing now is he is a sculptor for a lot of the stop motion stuff and a lot of other special effects stuff. So he worked on Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, I love that movie.
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Oh, right on.
And of movies we haven't reviewed, he worked on the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh, he did.
Wow.
So he has been busy.
No kidding. That's awesome. I love that. I love when people they may not think acting is good for them because he was obviously a toddler, but when they go into something else creative, that's so cool. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, agreed.
Brian Henson played and performed Hoggle and a Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
And in Return to Oz, he played Jack Pumpkinhead.
Oh, I love that character, actually.
That was a good movie. I mean, I remember seeing that as a kid, and oh my gosh, creeped the crap out of me.
Yeah, it's
of course it does.
Yeah, it's the 80s. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Well, that and the only one of those stories that doesn't creep you the crud out is like the first one. All the other ones get off into the deep end of weirdness.
True.
Ron Mueck, I probably said his name wrong, played Ludo, Fiery Number 2, and a Goblin. And in something called The Tale of the Bunny Picnic, he was the storyteller. Apparently it was, from what I can understand, what I figured out,
Rankin Bass movie?
it might have been. But because this guy did a lot of other voice work, I was just trying to find something that was not video game.
Fair.
So yeah, Dave Goles was the puppeteer for Sir Didymus, the Hat, one of the 4 guards, the left door knocker, and Fiery Number 3. And he is most well known for playing Gonzo the Great Gonzo, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, Zoot, Beauregard, and Waldorf on the Muppets.
I love that.
David Shaughnessy was the voice of Sir Didymus, the Hat, one of the 4 guards, though ironically not the same one as Dave Goles played, and a Goblin. And in the movie Big Hero 6, he played the butler Heathcliff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a deep cut. Wow.
Yeah.
Steve Whitmire, the puppeteer for Ambrosius, was one of the 4 guards, Fiery Number 4, and he is most well known for being the second performer for Kermit the Frog after Jim Henson.
Oh, okay.
Kevin Clash was another puppeteer for Ambrosius. You already know why I'm talking like this. He was one of the 4 guards, and he is most well known
as Splinter.
No, maybe, but he's also a puppeteer and voice for Fiery Number 1. But he is most well known for Elmo.
Indeed.
I hate Elmo.
Oh, you hate him? Oh, okay.
Oh, I hate Elmo. I want to see that puppet burn.
I mean, there's a GIF that does that where he's like this and it's on fire. So like,
I saw that. Which I always interpreted that as "Welcome to Hades."
Yeah, let it burn. Yeah.
Let it burn. Let it burn. Lastly, we have Percy Edwards, who was the voice of Ambrosius, and he was also the voice of Fizzgig in The Dark Crystal, a little furball.
That's right.
Oh, the one that goes, ah!
Yeah, him.
That's amazing.
So, Kingdom Hearts connections. Hadn't done this in a month.
That is true.
Guess how many?
I'll guess 3.
You're both wrong.
Okay.
Down.
Oh.
1.
Yes, it's 1.
1. Okay.
A single solitary one. It was N. Rytel, who was the voice of one of the goblins here. And in Kingdom Hearts 3, he replaced the voice actor for Scrooge McDuck, who before was the one from the cartoon.
Oh, yeah, because he passed away.
Because he had passed away.
Right.
So yeah, this is pre-David Tennant.
Yes.
Got it. I wonder if they have David Tennant do all the voices now. Probably not, but
it's not that design of Scrooge McDuck that David Tennant does.
You never know.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
So yeah, that's what I've got for cast list. What do we got in info and stuff?
All right, so info and stuff. That's a little bit, so we'll get through it a little fast. All right, so IMDb has a 7.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is 75%. Watch, you can't stream it anywhere, but you can rent it on...
Actually, You can buy it to stream it now on Apple TV.
Oh, that makes sense. That
yeah,
totally
and I
makes
rented
sense.
it on Prime.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
$4.
So literally came out within the last 48 hours.
Okay.
Really? Like, being
Yeah,
able to-
Really? Huh.
You guys picked the best one and the best timing, so I can see it too. It's
Yeah, there you
amazing.
go.
There we go.
That was entirely our point.
Totally.
So apparently now you can rent and buy on Apple TV. You can
And
rent-
Amazon.
And Amazon. You can rent both. On Apple TV, you can rent it for $3.99, and Amazon, you can rent it for $2.99. Production was from Henson Associates and Lucasfilm Inc. Distributed by TriStar Pictures. Original release date was June 27th, 1986, and here in the United States and in the United Kingdom, December 2nd. It had a runtime of 101 minutes. Going into the box office, it had a budget of $25 million, estimated wise. Its opening weekend for America and Canada on June 29th was $3.5 million. Its domestic gross here in America and Canada was 13.7. Not a good sign. Its international gross was a little bit more, $14.6 million. So the movie didn't do well in the theaters.
Sad.
But, yes, because now it's become a cult classic. Everybody loves
That seems to be what always happens.
Welcome to popular movies from the 80s.
That is
yeah,
true.
exactly.
That is so true.
Very true.
All right, going into home video release. Labyrinth was first released on VHS, Betamax, and pan to scan Laserdisc in 1987. United States by Channel 5 distributed in the UK. New Line Home Video re-released the film on Laserdisc on widescreen through Image Entertainment in 1994. Sony Pictures Home Entertainment reissued the film on VHS for the first time in 1999 in the United States under a subsidy contract with Columbia's TriStar in the UK at the same time. With Inside the Labyrinth including the special features, the film made its first DVD premiere in 1999 in the United States. Let's see, and since has been re-released on DVD in 2003, 2007, 2016. All DVD releases of the film include Inside the Labyrinth documentary as an extra. In 2003, the re-release was described as a collector's edition and featured a set of exclusive collector's cards that featured concepts from Brian Forel. In 2007, it was released. 2000 was released, promoted as the anniversary edition, featured commentary from Brian Forel and newly produced making of documentary Journey Through the Labyrinth. Kingdom of Characters and Journey Through the Labyrinth, the Quest of the Goblin City. Let's see, the film was released for the first time on Blu-ray in 2009. Let's see, it had a bunch of features. This also included the 2007 extra features. The 30th anniversary was released in 2016 on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Blu-ray. Let's see, we had an Amazon exclusive version. Let's see. In 2021, a 35th anniversary limited edition of Labyrinth was released on Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, and had a set of digibook designed to resemble Sarah's book from the film. 2021 Blu-ray disc had the same transfer from 2016, while the 2021 4K Blu-ray included a upgraded 4K transfer with Dolby Visual, HDR special features with 25 minutes of deleted scenes and extended scenes and optional commentary, and 55 minutes of footage. So original audience of the role of Sarah in 2024. Let's see. Yeah, like Shout Factory got the distributing rights for it, along with Dark Crystal. And as of most recently, it is available now to digitally own on what Drew said earlier.
Apple TV.
Apple TV.
And Prime and Amazon.
When I first looked at it, it said, "Do you want to pre-order this for $26?" And I said, "No, I do not want to pay $26 for a 10-year-old for a 30-year-old film,
35.
Nearly 40-year-old film."
Yeah, exactly.
And you get to rent for $4 afterward.
Exactly. Especially when I knew I owned a copy, and the only reason I was looking online is because I was being lazy.
Yes.
Fair.
All right. So going into sequels, there actually was a plan for a sequel,
And it never happened.
It never happened.
Okay.
All right. So in 2016, Nicole Perlman announced that she was hired to write a script for the sequel of Labyrinth in 2017. I'm going to butcher this person's name, so I apologize. I'm just going to butcher. I apologize. Signed on director as well as co-written by Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce, that is Lisa Harris Henson. Sorry, Jim Henson. Jim Henson's daughter was named as producer in 2008. The script was confirmed to be completed in 2020. However, the director announced that he was stepping away in 2020. Scott DeRichman, there again, probably going to butcher it, known for directing Doctor Strange, was announced as director. Maggie Lemons joined him as writer of the script of the film. The Jim Henson Company's Brian Henson was set to exclusively produce the film, but in 2021, let's see, the last we heard of was in 2021 when Jennifer Connelly revealed she had a conversation about being involved with the Labyrinth sequel, but was unsure about what was going to happen. And that's all we know about a possible sequel. It's been
Limbo.
Ow.
You okay?
Don't you love when you pull a hair on your mustache?
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, it hurts. But yeah, that's all I remember of stuff. There's no unless someone else knows what's going on with the Labyrinth sequel, if we're ever going to see it at all. But it'd be kind of hard because Dave Bowie's no longer with us. So who can play Jareth?
I know they did manga sequels.
You could maybe do it without the Goblin King, but that would be odd.
Yeah.
If they had
and
like
plus
maybe
it'd be kind of
Toby
weird
be
following
it? Have Toby like
Toby be the new Goblin King?
Basically, that's the only thing I can think of.
That would be
They
good.
did that in a manga. They did a manga sequel, and that was the thing. Jareth like kidnapped him to sorry, spoiler for this. Basically trying to do that, have Toby become his heir pretty much. So they have made little sequels, but nothing canon.
Well, I mean, there is that one line in the film where Jareth says, "I think I'll call him Jareth. He has my eyes."
Yeah.
Which made me actually think, this is a crazy fan theory that immediately was disproven. Is there some kind of weird time travel thing where Jareth, the Goblin King, is actually Toby from the future?
I have a theory,
that's
but it's
not where that
related
went.
to that. Right, yeah. I have a theory, but yeah, that'll come later.
Not a good game theory, but thanks for watching.
Yep.
So anyway, getting into the plot summary for this.
Yes.
While in the park with her dog Merlin, 16-year-old Sarah recites from a book called The Labyrinth, but is unable to remember the last line. Realizing that she is late to babysit her infant half-brother Toby, she rushes home and is confronted by her stepmother, who leaves for dinner with Sarah's father. Frustrated that Toby was given her treasured teddy bear, Lancelot, and by his constant crying, Sarah rashly wishes that Toby be taken away by the goblins from her book. Toby disappears, and the Goblin King Jareth appears, offering Sarah her dreams in exchange for the baby. She refuses, instantly regretting her wish. Jareth reluctantly gives Sarah 13 hours to solve the labyrinth and find Toby before he is turned into a goblin forever. Sarah meets a dwarf named Hoggle, who aids her to enter the labyrinth. She has trouble finding her way at first and meets a talking worm who inadvertently sends her in the wrong direction. Sarah ends up in an oubliette where she reunites with Hoggle. The two are confronted by Jareth, escape one of his traps, and encounter a large beast called Ludo. Hoggle flees in a cowardly fashion, while Sarah befriends Ludo after freeing him from a trap, and loses him in the forest. Hoggle encounters Jareth, who instructs him to give an enchanted peach to Sarah, calling his loyalty into question, as he was supposed to take her back to the beginning of the labyrinth. Sarah is harassed by a group of creatures called the Fire Gang, but Hoggle comes to her aid. She kisses him, and they fall through a trapdoor that sends them to a flatulent swamp called the Bog of Eternal Stench, where they reunite with Ludo. The trio meet the guard of the swamp, the anthropomorphic fox terrier Sir Didymus, and his bearded collie steed Ambrosius. Ludo summons a trail of rocks to save Sarah from falling into the bog, and Didymus joins the group. The group gets hungry, and so Hoggle gives Sarah the peach and runs away as she falls into a trance and forgets her quest. She dreams that Jareth comes to her at a masquerade ball, proclaiming his love for her, but she rebuffs him and escapes, falling into a junkyard outside the Goblin City near Jareth's castle. An old junk lady fails to brainwash her, and she is rescued by Ludo and Sir Didymus. They are confronted by the humongous robotic gate guard. There's a tongue twister. They are confronted by the humongous robotic gate guard, but Hoggle comes to their rescue. Despite his feeling unworthy of forgiveness for his betrayal, Sarah and the others welcome him back, and they enter the city together. Jareth is alerted to the group's presence and sends his goblin army to stop them. Ludo summons a multitude of rocks to chase the goblins away and enter the castle. Sarah insists she must face Jareth alone and promises to call the others if needed. In a room modeled after M.C. Escher's Relativity, she confronts Jareth while trying to retrieve Toby. She recites the lines from the book that mirror her adventure to that point, but still cannot remember the last line. Jareth offers Sarah her dreams again, but she remembers the final line, "You have no power over me." Defeated at the last second, Jareth returns Sarah and Toby home, turns into a barn owl, and flies away. Realizing how important Toby is to her, Sarah gives him Lancelot and returns to her room as her father and stepmother return home. She sees her friends in the mirror and admits that even though she has grown up, she still needs them in her life, whereupon the Labyrinth characters appear in a room for a raucous reunion party, hugging each other in joy. Jareth, in his barn owl form, watches their celebration from outside and then flies off into the moonlight.
That's a heck of a mouthful.
Indeed. A little bit. Getting into the trivia for this. The owl, well, let's face it, Jareth, in the opening title sequence, is computer generated, and it's the first attempt at photorealistic CGI animal character in a feature film.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely the first attempt.
First real attempt.
I mean,
it looks good. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah.
But boy, can you tell.
Yeah, you can tell.
Has it aged well, but it's a good attempt.
It's got double-digit polygons, but that's about the best. But it's a low double digits.
Yes,
but it looks nice. Like
it does look good. Yes,
and the little mirror effects and everything.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah.
The various things that Jareth does with the crystal balls, rolling them around in his arms and his hands and so forth, are not camera tricks or any other kind of special effect. They're actually done by choreographer Michael Motion, who is an accomplished juggler. Motion was actually crouched behind David Bowie with his arms replacing Bowie's. Unlike typical Muppet performers, he had no video screen to view his performance. So his manipulations were all performed completely blind.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! Because
you would think this being a Muppet performance, they would at least give him the same tools they give the Muppet performers.
Well, nope. Especially like when
you're juggling balls. You can't have a camera. Like you can't have a monitor.
The thing where he sits like kind of on a ledge, so that means that guy had to be crouched down by his butt and go while he was doing that. Oh my gosh!
There are some positions that I'm fairly certain those Muppet performers had to be in that are just as bad.
Yeah.
And they all got televisions to see what they were doing.
Yes. That's true. That's a good point. That's fair. That's fair.
All I'm saying.
All he got was David Bowie's backside. It's like, how do you do this?
Pray David Bowie doesn't fart on you.
Dutch oven goes right up the...
Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude.
In the scene where Toby is seated on the Goblin King Jareth's lap, the baby had a fixed and hypnotized look off camera as Jareth murmurs evilly in his ear. In fact, Toby screamed so much during the many takes of this scene that something had to be done to keep him quiet. Fortunately, A crew member had a glove puppet of a British character called Sudi. And for the duration of Jareth's speech, David Bowie had the Sudi puppet on his hand, out of shot, gently wiggling to distract Toby. The child was in trance, hence the hypnotic stare and the perfect silence.
Nice.
That's one way to do it.
Yes.
Fair.
The sources of the characters can be seen in Sarah's bedroom at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She has a stuffed animal that looks like Sir Didymus on her dresser, a doll that looks like Ludo on the shelves next to her door, along with the book Where the Wild Things Are, which is where a lot of the goblin designs obviously were based off of.
Sure.
A fiery doll on the shelves next to her bed, bookends with goblins reminiscent of Hoggle on her dresser, and a figurine of Jareth on the right-hand side of her desk. After you see the Hoggle bookend, there's a scrapbook shown, and it shows newspaper clippings of Sarah's actress mother with another man that looks strangely like David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, the dress that she wears in the ballroom scene can be seen adorning the miniature doll in her music box, and a wooden maze game on her dresser next to the books is reminiscent of the hedge section of the Labyrinth. There is also a small painting on her wall that depicts a contraption much like the one operated by the cleaners, from which Sarah and Hoggle had to escape, and there's a copy of the famous picture of, from M.C. Escher, which is used in the room where the final confrontation with Jareth occurs.
Like this all
my
could be in her
theory.
imagination.
It might, that explains the moon logic.
Yes, it does.
The moon logic.
There were over 100 pairs of latex hands made for the helping hand scene.
Oh, that
Oh,
scene.
how funny.
And lastly, Sarah's dog Merlin also appears as Sir Didymus' steed Ambrosius.
Yes.
I love that.
This is a subtle joke, because Ambrosius was the wizard Merlin's other name.
Oh,
Really?
cool. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Wow. Okay.
That's cool. I like that.
And that's all I've got for trivia.
Having a
So,
Wizard of Oz moment.
Stephanie, what's your first like for this film?
Okay. I have to say the puppet design and the overall puppet acting. Oh, it's so good. I love it. Because, like, when you were talking about the different projects that Jim Henson has done in the past, he kind of tended to go more avant-garde from stuff that I've seen. And that plays a lot more into his style. Like the hands, the two-headed doors, and the fact that like almost all of them could be made into physical jokes or puns. Which is the best thing. The knocker who doesn't like his knocker in his mouth. And, you know, I love the little worm. He's the cutest thing. He's so small. But it's such a cute little design. It's simple, you know, just a little worm with a little scarf. It's just it's really cute. But I've always loved the way that they act, because it's basically acting whenever they have the people in the costumes, in the puppetry and everything. So it's amazingly good. And the fact that they look like monsters, like, you know, you have two ends of the spectrum, Dark Crystal, super gritty, a little scary, you know, and then Muppets, which are very indefined, and I feel like these guys are kind of in the middle.
Cartoony.
Yes.
Yeah. So I love it.
Jacob, what's your first like for this film?
My first like of this film would be the overarching story of growing up. Growing up, you have Sarah, who is 16. Conley was actually 14 when she played this role.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You're like, she brings her A game at 14 years old.
That's
Jiminies.
insane. Oh my gosh.
But you have this young girl who is stuck in her own fantasy. She wants to be a child forever. And it's a great story. It's a great almost morality story of growing up. And you have this girl who wants to live in her fantasy and not kind of deal with reality in a way. And you have the having to, like, her quote unquote evil stepmother tells her you need to go on dates instead of come out here and play your books and the whole bit. And there's all these really great analogies of like having to grow up, and you know, like in scripture it talks about when I was a child I did childish things, but now as an adult I've cast away childish things, which I think is adults who do a podcast for over animated films. Have we really done away with childish things?
Keyblade, Stitch.
Yeah. Oh,
Though I will quote C.S. Lewis when he also quoted that scripture. He ended that with, one of the childish things I did away with was trying to act grown up.
That is true. That is so true. But it's that was a scripture that kind of came to me when I was watching this, or kind of coming in with my verse, like, because there's so many layers to this story of how Sarah has to grow up, and where she calls upon the Goblin King to take Toby away because she wants to live in her fantasy, and then she's transported to the Labyrinth, and where she has to become more of an adult. Mm-hmm. Even though she is still a child, she's still an adult. So she's trying to understand, be like, I want to be an adult, but I still want to be a kid. And you have all these like beautiful analogies, like I think it was Jim Henson's son. What's his name?
Brian Henson?
Yeah, Brian Henson said it, but he was doing an interview where it was talking about, because you have this being an adult and trying to be a kid and trying to deal with all these other complicated things of, going from childhood to adulthood, and you have to weave that very carefully. You have to, if you're talking about sexuality or whatever, or attraction towards that, and all these beautiful little things you're trying to weave into that. It's very well done. And you have this movie that is it's a lot of this like inspiration was let me think, Alice in Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz, obviously, because this idea of growing up, maturing.
Yeah, and then you see some other ththings peppered around that room that obviously are meant to be inspirations.
Exactly.
Like the Disney Robin Hood is in there.
Oh yeah,
you see pictures of all them and
Snow
other
White
things in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Snow White.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They actually had a copy of the Snow White Annual.
Yes,
is that what that was?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like it's so well done. Like, you have this, it's a coming of age story for our character Sarah, and there again, be like, Sarah Connolly was 14 years old when she did this film, and it's just freaking knocks it out of the park.
Absolutely.
Because you have this like very mature character, and she's this young girl who wants to be an adult but still wants to be a kid, and she has to deal with all these adult responsibilities and not be a child and be petty about everything. And so by the end of the movie, she's grown up, but she's still a child at heart.
Right.
And so I love that about this movie, because you have so many different elements of like the ball and the trash heap and all these great moments where she's starting to grow up. And it's not be like, I'm gonna throw away my childhood, it's still gonna be there with me, but you have these beautiful just little elements through this entire film of growing up, and it's just so well done. So yeah, it's overarching theme of growing up but not discarding everything.
Right.
Yeah, because at the very end, she has this moment where she's back in the real world, and everything's gone back to normal, and she's more like her friends come to her in the mirror and it's like, be like, hey, we're here anytime you need us. And so yeah, that's like the idea of an artist, be like, you always have your imagination. There's always going to be something there to inspire you in the whole bit, because as an adult, you don't become this fuddy-duddy who thinks about numbers the entire time.
Right.
Don't become an accountant. Overall, be like, the story itself is so well done, and I love the story. Love the story to death. So that's my number one. You?
Nice.
My number one for this is David Bowie's performance as the Goblin King.
Oh, okay. This is going to be interesting then.
I did enjoy his performance here. He's got a he's doing a very good job of being charismatic, scary, and yet he's not really evil, but kind of gives off the evil vibe. I mean, the character I'm thinking more closely is Q from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Whereas
he's obviously the antagonist of the story.
Yes.
But he actually has our protagonist's best good, what's the word I'm looking for?
Good intentions?
He's got good intentions towards them. He is trying to actually help them by being the antagonist that they have to climb over.
Yeah,
in a way. He does a very good job of doing that, especially as just how almost without even changing the tone of his voice, he goes from acting around Sarah in this kind of nice, friendly kind of way. And then he'll go and talk to Hoggle, and he's not changed the timbre of his voice at all. He is the same. He's in the same rate, and it's like there's so much malevolence in how in how his employee is not doing what he told him to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you did a very good job with that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was
the subtlety.
It was just so well done. His performance as the Goblin King. And yeah, that is one of the sad things is if we ever do get a sequel to this, it can never have David Bowie in it because he's passed away.
Yes.
So, yeah. So David Bowie's performance as the Goblin King is my first like for this.
So one of the things I'd be like, after like discovering this film and learning more about it, I think the interviews be like, you have Jennifer Connelly would talk about Labyrinth and she'd talk about David Bowie and how generous and caring he was. The fact to be like, she was such a young actress and be like, and she literally knew nothing of and he was so gracious with her and so just so loving like a parent would. And so you have the story about, and I'm thinking like an early part of the script where it was in the ballroom where you would have Jareth and Sarah kiss, but David Bowie said no, be like, this is completely unprofessional to have an actor like me who's 33 at the time, and you have Jennifer Connelly as 14-year-old. He was like, no, I'm absolutely not going to do that. Yeah. And so Connelly always gave him high praise every time he ever talked about it, or anytime she would talk about Bowie. It's like he was so professional, he was so loving and kind and caring, and he just treated her like an actor. He didn't treat her like anything else. And it's just so those kind of stories is really wonderful to hear.
Yeah. Steph, what's your second like for this?
All right, number 2. I love the songs. They're so good. I love all the songs. As we were joking before, there are some bangers in there. I had to. But
I'm not the oldest one on this call, but I feel it right now.
I'm going back to the conversation we had beforehand.
I'm too old to say it too. So you can tell why I said it so articulately.
Yes.
I can't say it in a non-ironic fashion. It just doesn't work. So I love I love the beginning song of the 80s kind of themes that go throughout, but the random numbers that happen, they're just fun. They're just really fun. I love the Fire Gang one. That's a fun song.
Yeah, agree.
Catchy, and I don't know why, but the song at the beginning has been stuck in my head ever since I watched it a couple hours ago. The "It's Only Forever," that one, stuck in my head nonstop. But yeah, and I just like the songs and sound design throughout. It was really fun.
Agreed.
Jacob?
So I'm reminded of a Metallica song that came out in the early 90s, earlier 90s. Master of Puppets. The puppetry of this movie is fantastic because they're going to be like, it's Jim Henson. Yeah. One of my favorite Henson creations movie of all time is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, because that's my favorite Turtles film of all time. And the Henson, it was one of Henson's last projects, but I digress. Because you look at the hand scene, that was so well done. You have what's the big monster's name? I can't remember his name. Ludo. Yeah, Ludo's design is so well done. I remember because I watched a documentary over this just before I came over here, and the first scene in the documentary, they're showing Ludo, a guy walking around as Ludo during the UK premiere, and he's being introduced to Princess Diana and Prince Charles, and the look of awe and oh my gosh, what the world of Princess Di was to die for. It was so good because these are so well done, like Ludo's expressions and the whole bit. Then you have Hoggle. Yeah, Hoggle. Like Hoggle's design, like every puppet in this movie is done so well, such like beautiful artistic craftiness, and just like they're being an artist, I appreciate that. And I really wish, I know it's a bygone era of puppetry. I know they do it every once in a while as an homage, but I really wish they would go back to this and, give that art form some more love that it needs.
Admittedly, Jim Henson Creature Shop is the only people doing this.
That is true.
Yeah, they are.
That is so true. I saw that I think it was
Except, ironically, the last 2 Muppet films, the ones that Disney produced, they didn't make the Muppets for that.
What?
Oh,
yeah.
Did,
It was made by other companies. So
wow.
I don't know why they didn't work with Jim Henson Creature Shop.
Wow.
I've seen like independent people, like people who do their own projects, make their own puppets. Like that's still definitely a thing, but there's not really a commercially active one per se.
Because if we get right down to it, and I hate to say this, but CG characters are cheaper.
They are
to produce,
they are.
And you can come back and tweak the performance as much as you want until the thing comes out. Granted, there is a certain magic of puppets that just works better. To be honest, because granted, I do prefer. I do think that when they did the prequels for Star Wars, the Yoda CG was done very well, and I don't think you could have done half that stuff with a puppet.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I still miss the puppet.
That is true, because it wouldn't be that much longer until you would have the 2 worlds of CG and puppetry have to collide with each other with one of the greatest films of all time, Jurassic Park.
True.
Because that film was initially supposed to be puppetry and stop motion and the whole
but the animatronics were not working well with that, except for on the big shots.
Yeah, with the big Rex a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So like you had, because then CGI took over, and obviously you've had throughout the years like puppetry has been used periodically, but it is sadly a dying art. Sadly a dying art, and Henson Studios is the only one doing it.
Well, much like stop motion has been a dying art, but it's coming back.
Yeah.
Aardman's been doing stuff.
Aardman, Laika, and Guillermo del Toro Studio.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So the art itself is not dead yet, but it's I wouldn't say it's on its last leg, but it's kind of getting a slight renaissance of more recent, and I enjoy that for someone who is a 80s 90s kid. And yes, I just named my age, people. Come on. Be like, I love the puppetry and everything about this movie. It's so well done, and it is it's cherished. It's an American treasure
for a British movie. Yes.
So
because it was filmed at Shepperton Studios in England.
That makes so much sense now. The humor, I was like, there's British humor in here. I could tell.
Yes.
That's why. But there is.
It's because, so Muppet stuff, even though Jim Henson was American, a lot of his stuff ended up being made in England for the Muppets and a lot of his other stuff, because when Jim Henson was making the Muppet Show, no one in America would give him the time of day to give him the money to do it, but a lord over in England who owns the ITC Broadcasting over there paid to do the whole thing, and then CBS Studios is the one who actually put it out Muppet Show out over here, and did fund it, but it always went in their slot opposite of the news. Because then the news only at that time only took a half hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, gosh.
But you had to leave out a whole hour block for some reason. Because of local programming, there was an FCC rule you had to have local programming, and for some reason that counted.
Got it.
Interesting.
Anyway, so when they went to started making the Muppet movies, Lord Lou Grade, that's his name. Okay. He produced like the first 3 Muppet movies, plus Dark Crystal. In fact, Dark Crystal and Great Muppet Caper were being made at the same time, and the only reason Lord Lou Grade financed Dark Crystal is because Jim Henson agreed to also make Great Muppet Caper, because he wanted a sequel, and that connection is why all this stuff was. They were already working in England; they already had connections over there. Plus, Lucasfilm already working over there, and they're working with George Lucas and all them. So. In this film,
that connection last time. I didn't realize George Lucas was part of it too. That's neat.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea.
He was the exclusive producer.
Oh,
They didn't put the Lucasfilm name on this, but yeah, he was the executive producer on this.
Yeah, and they're the ones who did the
And trust me, you watch the trailers for this, they let you know.
Yeah, it's
Because they keep emphasizing the three legends of entertainment come together. Jim Henson, master of puppetry, George Lucas from Star Wars, and David Bowie.
That's amazing. I mean, that would have been a heck of a draw in the 80s, so I can understand.
Oh yeah,
I agree with that.
Because I mean, like it's 86, so Star Wars, the
Second one.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi would have just been finishing up around this time.
Yeah, been in 82, 83.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna be like, you had this cavalcade of just like fantasy stories coming out of that time period.
Sure.
And this is about the time that the Lucasfilm quality was getting into the more cult stuff, cult classic stuff, before it just kind of slowly fell off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Indiana Jones is in there too, but that's kind of a different thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Different genre.
It's freaking Indiana Jones, man.
Yeah.
Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones.
So are we on your second like?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I'm done. Go ahead.
So my second like.
Yeah, your second like.
My second like for this is, like y'all were saying, the puppets.
Mm-hmm.
All the puppetry in here is so well done. They are taking some risks with some of this stuff I noted, because there is a lot, and I do mean a lot of composition shots.
Yes.
The thing with the fiery monsters, those groups where they can take their heads off and all that. I saw Henson do something with that similar on like the first couple episodes of the Muppet Show, where it's being animated basically behind a curtain. Actually, if you watch the Muppet movie, the scene there at the El Sleazo where Kermit and Fozzie are dancing on the stage, and you see it's full body shots.
Yeah.
That's the same technique that they used here. But here, instead of it just being in front of a curtain, they put it in front of a blue screen. So they could edit all that out. It's like, okay, that is actually a brilliant move, and it mostly works. Mostly works because some of the hair, I say it was a blue screen, I'm betting it's a green screen.
Probably.
Yeah.
Especially with the color, the color of the things, because that would have been good contrast.
Yes.
Plus, they all kind of had a bit of a green outline.
A little bit.
Just a little bit of one.
That's a little bit my dislikes a little bit here or there, but there again, it's nitpicks.
There's a lot of nitpicks coming up, but but you've got that. You got all the stuff. Like the Ludo and Hoggle stuff is not as impressive, admittedly, because they've been doing that sort of thing a lot. But they did a very good job with it here.
Yeah.
The stuff with the hands, it's like, oh wow, how many tries did that take
gosh,
to get those hand movements in just the right spot to do all that?
And to make them look like different faces. And
Oh yeah. And then and all the different puppets. I especially liked the junk lady, even though I could tell that that the big junk pile on her back was mostly hiding the actor. But the way that animated, it's like you don't even think about that when you're watching it. It's only when you come back that you think about that. So yeah, and of course all the goblins throughout here. I especially love, and this is just kind of a cool, weird minor thing. They don't give you the nice, like with a lot of fantasy stuff where it starts in the real world and then goes into the fantasy world. You know, there's usually a slow integration from real world to fantasy. Here we get a slash cut where it's like she's reading the thing and it goes over and you see a crowd of these trolls going, she's going to say it. She's going to say it. It's like they give you no clue that this is happening. You just think, oh, okay, we're in the normal world. All of a sudden, boom, screen full of puppets. For like 30 seconds. Not even long enough for you to register what you just saw. So back to the other thing. Okay. And then they come back and it's back and forth. And I especially love that part where he goes, that's not how it you say to summon the Goblin King. It doesn't start with that. How hard is it to say?
So good.
They're annoyed with her.
It's like, listen.
I love the little guy in the middle. Did she say it? Shh. Like he said.
But yeah, the puppetry is definitely my second like for this.
Oh my gosh.
Steph, what's your third like for this?
Okay. I have to say, I love the character acting in these. Makes play. So, like, the fact that they can make you invested in these characters when they only have like 30 seconds of dialogue.
Yeah.
Like the little wormy guy, oh, come in the missus and have a cup of tea. It's adorable. Or the hat and the bird. You feel so bad for that bird. It's like, oh yes, it's so what was the word? So stimulating being your hat.
It sucks being your hat. Yes.
Or I love the for some reason I think it kind of slightly reminds me for some reason of Star Wars, like some of the little side characters they'd have, like the droids and the little guys that would like be kind of doing gibberish and stuff. Like the little dude that comes up when she tries to mark the
Oh yeah.
And while I was watching it, he was muttering at her like, and he goes, "Your father's an aardvark." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it reminds me of that little puppet that's always next to Jabba the Hutt in his palace.
Oh yeah,
that has that laugh. Yeah, that one. That's what it reminds me of.
There's all these little characters that they're so silly and they do such like.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're so great. Or like the little cannonball. And he gets smushed and he goes out of the cannon. I thought I shot you, and he goes. It's just so cute.
Slopping off.
Those little things, just so tiny. The fact that they can make you so invested in those characters so quickly, and the fact that like every single big scary monster thing is usually just a little guy. Like the cleaner is just those 4 little dudes trying to run a crank. And
that was so ironically funny. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna eat our characters alive, and it's just little guys doing this number. It's great.
And I always remember for some reason that one line from the dude in the armor when Hoggle kicks him out and he falls in the guns. Well, that's not very nice. Like,
yes.
That little dude. It's great. It's great.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh.
So my third and final like of this film would be the final confrontation with Jareth in the I for some reason I want to say Giger, but it's not a Giger.
Escher,
MC
right?
Escher.
MC Escher. I wasn't close. It's an Escher film.
Yes.
Escher inspired.
It's based off an Escher print.
Yes.
Yes, Paul.
Now we've got Alien and this movie mashing together, which is not a good thing. So you have this amazing scene where it's like she comes into Jareth's domain and the upside down world of like all of these like the way it's shot, the way it's processed and developed, and the whole bit, it's beautifully done. And you have this, it's Jareth is kind of toying with Sarah the entire time and be like, you can have everything, all be like, let me do this and let me do this, and just like toying with her, be like, you'll be like, if you just do this, you do this, kind of like what Satan loves to do, is toy with like the Jesus in the in the wilderness, of talking about how be like I will give you this and this and this as long as you worship me, as long as you allow me to be the king of the universe.
Yes,
and it's like be like, yeah, you have no power over me, and just like that, it has like great parallel. And Sarah be like, she's trying to remember the lines. And she's be like, this idea of this great temptation for her is to be like if you allow me to love you and allow me to do this and this and this, be like just I'll be your slave, just let me control everything of your life. And it's just this beautiful scene where it's just like it'd be like she's like, you have no power over me, and the world collapses, and she falls back into reality, or she falls back into her world. And it's so beautifully done. It's just this idea of like conquering fear and conquering not mastering your fate, but mastering just what because Jareth the entire time has been manipulating time and manipulating everything just for her, just trying to make everything perfect for her. And it's just like he's just bending over backwards trying to do everything for her. And like it's because she starts to realize and be like, this isn't the way. This is the way this is supposed to go. And she just be like, you have no power over me. And he goes, poof, he disappears.
I love that shot of
he's
him
always
falling
there.
backwards.
Yeah. So yeah, that final confrontation is so well done, and you have these like there again the composition shots of like you have here it's all this like everything's composition or cropped in together, and it's so well done. I love that part of the ending. The ending in the movie is another story. It's good, but we'll get there when we get there.
Okay then. My third like for this is one really, really cool moment.
Okay.
During the MC Escher scene.
Yes.
And David Bowie is doing that spoken word song as he's walking around the different parts while Sarah is trying to figure out how she's going to get to her baby brother on, over there in the fifth dimension down there.
Yes.
And he's doing all that walking around. There's that one spot, and this clip is also in every trailer, so you know they were very proud of it too.
Oh yeah.
But when he does that thing where looks like he's gonna he's walking underneath,
and he just comes back over,
and he goes to step out like he's gonna, just step off into thin air, and it rotates him around so he's back on the top side walking towards her. And I'm going, how did they do that? In the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
I know that had to have been like stop motion is the only way they could have done that where it looks that good. But still, the way it rotates, it looks like, sure, he freezes in places he's going around, but it is like spot on. It's like, how did you do that?
Tell me your secret, Jareth. How did you do the thing?
Even if this was CG, I would be going, how did you do that?
Yeah. You do it practically.
Because that's a hard shot no matter what you do.
Agreed.
And you can tell they were very proud of that shot as much as it was used in marketing materials.
Put it on everything.
It's almost as bad as the they almost use it as bad as the CG Genesis shot from Star Trek, where they do it in three different movies.
Oh, boy.
Yes,
full screen. But yeah, it was like, that was so amazing. That whole sequence is amazing, and how they handle all those moves. They had to film all of that right side up, and then stick it together on the thing where it looked like everything was right. And going, considering some of the editing mishaps that were earlier in the film, which I will get to in a minute, this is spot on, and it survived the transfers and everything to this point where it's still impressive to this day, where I'm still looking at it and going, how'd you do that? So yeah, the MC Escher sequence, but mainly that part where the Goblin King goes from walking upside down to right side up is my third like for this film. I guess you could say what I really like about this film is it still had the ability to surprise me 38 years later.
Yeah.
On the third viewing.
On the third viewing. Yeah. So now, as much as we have gushed about this film, we do have to talk about things we don't like. Steph, why don't you start us off on this also?
So, fortunately, the fact that what Jacob said actually helps me to not feel as bad about this, like with the actual actors. But it's just Sarah, with how young she is and how old Jareth is, and knowing, like, in the lore, he's probably like 500 years old or something.
If not older.
And,
I was assuming 5,000.
And you have this dance sequence between a baby and a 30-year-old man. It was weird, but
just a little.
Just a little. But I think too, just seeing, I think maybe I'm biased, but because again, how young Sarah is, she seems a little spoiled at the beginning. She's
a little spoiled. She's a daddy's girl.
Just a little.
She puts everything in the "woe is me" filter, basically.
Yeah.
And she's dressing up, and she's like, "How dare you?"
It's a little spoiled. At the beginning, she's running around in a peasant's princess costume in the middle of the park, and nobody's looking at her weird.
Yeah.
So they're used to it.
I've been to a Renaissance fair. The kids exist, they want to be a princess. So, but yeah, that was just my main thing was Sarah's spoiled immaturity at the beginning, and then also the that coupled with Jareth's, like you said, 5,000-year-old man. Yeah. So a little problematic.
Just a touch.
Yeah. Going to that point, be like,
it's not as bad as the Doctor from Doctor Who and all of his companions.
Oh, that's true.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
900, 1,000, and everyone.
And Rose is like 18, 28, somewhere in there.
I know it. It's weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm done for good. Yeah.
Jacob.
All right, so my first dislike of the film, now granted this is a nitpick for this film, because there again, it is the 80s. And there was no CG, there was CGI at the time, but it was very limited.
Very limited.
Like the owl in the beginning. Very early CG. So you have all you can see periodically, because it's a movie full of puppets and marionettes and what have you, because you see strings every once in a while. And
this is right before they really had the ability to start editing that out.
Yeah. So I'd be like, it's a part of it. It kind of takes the illusion away, because it'd be like, it's a puppet, but at the same time, you don't want to see strings. So it kind of breaks the illusion in some way. So it'd be like if you had, like, if I was to watch this movie, like I was a young child and watched it, I would have saw those strings, but like, wait, they're puppets. They're not real creatures. So I think for me, be like, as an adult, you see all these, the creative side and the artistry and the craftsmanship of the film is done very well. If they were able to hide more of the strings, or the scene that I always think of, the fire creatures. Yeah. I see that because you're using a blue screen or green screen. It's so very obviously they're using that for this scene. It kind of takes you out of the moment for the scene, because at one scene be like, it's Sarah, she walks in the scene, and the next thing be like, it's a blue screen. Well, walk out of it, it's back into a regular set.
What's even weirder is that you can tell she's standing in front of a different blue screen than the puppets are standing in front of.
Because they're superimposing.
They're not quite lined up correct.
No, they're not. Yeah.
She's kind of behind the fire a little bit, isn't it, when she's supposed to be? Like,
she is a little bit.
Field is a little off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was like early. They were doing compositing at this time, but this optically, but this one has just a weird effect to it, because I think this is the first time they'd used that puppetry method with that. So,
yeah, to quote Captain Kirk from a certain movie, be like, the great experiment.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. I feel like a lot of it wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, a lot of it.
Jim Henson loved to push the envelope.
Oh, yeah.
When it came to puppetry. Every single one of those films up till, at least till his passing. I say it that way because I can't really point to anything specifically after that. But they always seem to be pushing some part of the envelope.
Yeah.
I remember with the fire gang. I always want to say fire band. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
they're fireys is what they're officially called.
Got it. There's that one scene where their heads go up and their little ears flap. That looked like it was practical, like it was an animatronic.
Yeah.
So like that's amazing to me. That's a huge like.
It is good.
That was probably hand controlled in the puppet head.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, there again, be like, it is a nitpick beyond belief, because they're gonna be like, you're looking at it from a 21st century perspective to a 20th century film, and like it's done brilliantly. Like Drew said, like it's pushing the envelope, but you just see those little flaws within the film, but you still enjoy it.
It's really more of a fact that the effect didn't really age that well.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Like the owl.
Cultural perspective.
So speaking of effects that didn't quite age well, I did like the worm character.
Oh.
The problem is, you can tell when they filmed it, that puppet is about the same size as every other puppet they've got in stock, and it's not a little marionette thing they're controlling off screen, because they have gone and composited the part of the video that they shot for filming this onto the other thing, and bless their hearts, it doesn't quite match.
Not quite.
There's a couple shots there where they've got this kind of weird shadow going across it to kind of hide this fact, but you're looking at it, it's like that stands out like a sore thumb. And it wouldn't be so bad if the lighting on the set with the worm was the same as the lighting on the set with Sarah. Because it is really far off. One is blue light and the other is yellow light.
Oh,
I didn't even
realize that.
Yeah. Wow. I was sitting there watching, going, it was one of those things where I'm watching, going, okay, the puppetry is good. That's fine. What else? What is wrong with this shot? I can tell something is wrong with this shot.
It's a puppet.
And I'm watching, going, okay, so obviously they shot this part separate from Sarah, and they've gone and edited all this back in together. That's fine. What is wrong? Oh, it's it's the fact that there's an extra the shot of the worm is smaller. Is a smaller video, and it's actually not staying in sync with the camera around it.
Oh my gosh, I never realized
it's
that.
minor. It is so minor differences. Yes. But because I am now staring at it, looking to find out what's wrong with this thing.
Right.
And what hurts me more than everything else is that would be much more forgivable if it weren't for the fact that the worm's telling her that things are all in the labyrinth are not always what they seem, and they have shot the little entrance to where she's supposed to go in such a way where until she walks behind the brick walls, you can't tell that it's not the same wall.
Very true.
The way that they have it angled, there's nothing.
There's nothing. And it's like they did that so perfectly.
Yes.
And then they have to see shifts back to the worm, who's obviously not in the shots. The camera that's in a slightly different lighting situation, and going, really?
You can't have it.
You got close. You got so close, and this one scene is now stuck in my head.
That's what you'll remember now.
Yeah, it's what I'll remember now. This is the thorn in my flesh for this film.
Right in the foot.
It's what's keeping me from being 100% enjoying this thing is I'm looking and going, a worm. That worm is not on scene.
He's
did so much. And the thing is, here's the other thing. I would also forgive this if they hadn't tried to edit the worm onto the scene, because there's plenty of shots where they go to the worm full screen.
Yeah, those work. Those work really well.
Those work perfectly. There is enough separation psychologically for me to still say that's in the same scene. But you go to the other one where the frame rates are slightly different. It's slightly off center, and it kind of bounces a little bit because there must have been wind in that room.
Oh,
and I'm going, I really wish I hadn't caught that, and I could have just ignored this.
The curse of being a reviewer, right?
The curse of thinking something's not right here, and not being able to go, oh well, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You ruined that scene for me, because now I'm going to look for that spot.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
You ruined the movie for Steph forever because of the worm.
I can't get over how cute he is.
Okay, fair enough. The worm is the performance is golden.
Yes.
Not get me wrong. The editing is not as good as it could have been.
Got it.
But that's my first dislike, and honestly, it's probably the only detrimental dislike I have.
Wow. Okay.
Detrimental.
It's the only one that's not really a nitpick.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, Steph, what's your second dislike?
Okay. I hate to say it. This one's a nitpick. It's Jareth's outfits. I won't tread over ground that lots of cultural people have gone over before, for obvious reasons, but it's weird, like the weird poofy hair that like is long.
It's the 80s.
I say it's the 80s.
I think that's the thing for me.
It's David Bowie. This is not the strangest thing he's worn on stage.
Someone actually introduced me to the whole Ziggy Sparkles.
Ziggy Stardust?
Yeah.
Stardust. And so I was like, oh, I actually had to ask one of my coworkers who was, a young lady around the 80s. And I'm like, is this attractive? Is this a thing? Do I just not get it? She's like, oh yeah, that was really, I'm like, okay. But yeah, I don't like it. But again, that's not the weirdest thing I've seen him wear, like you said, because I did look up Ziggy Stardust.
Right.
So, But yeah, it's just strange, and I think too sometimes it can have a tendency to look really fancy, really, almost like knightly, which is good because that's what he needs. He's supposed to be a king or whatever. But it tends to make him stand out way worse in contrast to the other goblins. They're all dirty and they got crap everywhere, and he's just like all clean and had a bath and nice eyeliner.
Of course, he's the Goblin King.
Whatever. So yeah.
Monty Python told us how you tell a peasant from a king. He hadn't got crap all over him, which I edited that for content.
I forgot about that.
You're welcome, Roy.
If you're still in the chat.
Oh, that's really funny. You don't vote for kings? Well, I can become king then. Anyway. But I always forget, just a side tangent from that scene, they're putting mud in a pile.
Yeah.
Like they're farming mud.
Yeah.
I never understood that till I was older. I was like, what are they doing? Oh, they're
sod.
Sod. Anyway, but yeah, so Jareth's close. I just don't get it. I'm a early 90s kid, but not enough to understand the look. So that's my first one.
Sorry.
My second and final like, because I don't have a third one for this one.
You mean dislike?
Yeah, dislike. That's what I meant to say. Dislike. You know what I mean. Yeah. All right. Thank you. My second and final dislike for this film would be the ending, the very ending of this movie. Now, grant, it is a very nitpick, because if you're just taking it literal for what the movie is Sarah is overcome her need for her imagination, and she's grown up. She's becoming a grown woman, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, everything's back, festive and blah 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 blah. And it's like, did she learn anything? She did, but if you look at it just from an outward perspective and not understanding the context of everything, it's like, this is the most funkiest ending in the world. Be like, she's conquered everything. She doesn't, like, she's growing into a young woman, and now she's partying with all her friends, the good and bad, and the movie ends like that with Jareth, the owl version of him, watching by. I'm like, did she learn nothing in this film?
So this is not
she did, but it's just like how, like, from a just like general perspective, it's like, wow, this movie is weird.
This is not the original ending they had for this film. Really? It is the one that went to theaters, but they had another version shot, which basically ended without that.
Okay.
It kind of just went, once she got done putting that stuff in her drawer and told her parents they were home, she went to bed. And the camera came out the window, and that was it.
Okay.
And they decided they wanted a happier ending.
That makes sense.
Yeah, more fanfare.
Yeah, exactly. You want the movie into like a nice, light, party, fun. That makes sense.
Plus, while this is about her growing up, it's not about abandoning childhood.
Of course.
It's about incorporating your childhood into your adulthood without going full childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
This is kind of them showing that,
which
is the only thing I have, only rebut to your dislike that I have.
Agreed. All right, so what is your second dislike?
My second dislike, and we are into the nitpick territory here. I mentioned my mom wasn't a fan of David Bowie.
Oh.
I ain't either. I am not a fan of David Bowie's songs.
Okay.
The style of his stuff is just not. This doesn't click with me. About the only one of these things that's going to stick with me is the beginning of Dance Magic Dance. The little thing about, you remind me of the Babe. The who? The Babe with the Power. I can't remember the whole thing right now. But it's like, and I remember thinking, that is this song? This song has nothing to do with that intro. And still, this is not, and that's the other thing, is these songs, they were written for this film. Officially.
Yes.
Officially, they were written for this film. But this film sounds like a jukebox musical.
They don't make sense.
Yeah. Which does, because the songs almost don't fit the environment.
Yeah.
And yet they kind of worked in there. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
True.
And going with the fact that I also am not a real big fan of a lot of these songs myself.
Oh.
And that is... Anytime the song started coming on, it was a disappointing thing. Now, don't get me wrong. don't get me wrong. David Bowie sang all these songs very well.
Fair.
And the puppets that sang along with him did very well too. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of composition and whether or not they were appropriate for the scenes they were in, I'm gonna have to say no.
Yeah, it is like jukebox musically. I would agree.
Yeah,
True.
and I'm not a fan of jukebox musical in general, but then at least most jukebox musicals try to make their stuff work with the scene, and this doesn't really do that either.
Yeah,
it's just, oh, we got a new pair of characters come on, time for them to sing. Or David Bowie is bored up in his tower. It's song time.
I mean,
it's kind of what it feels like.
Fair.
But yeah, and of course I get it. You got David Bowie. Of course he's going to write songs for this. But could have tried to make something a little more appropriate, maybe. Granted, I guarantee I'm alone on this, or one of the very few. I am in the minority. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the music.
Yeah. I can understand that. I can understand, I love it. But that's the thing. I'm the kind of person who I burst into song randomly, so I could understand being in the tower just randomly singing because you're bored.
Well, I get that too. But for a story, for a musical, I kind of want the music to fit the story.
Yeah,
but
it's not
anyway.
like Disney where they're literally singing the situation. It doesn't go that way.
Yeah.
Or like I think of Rapunzel from Tangle be like, it's like, oh, I'm bored, so I'm gonna paint something on the wall.
Right, exactly.
Well, I mean, what was that? What was it? We did a bad movie month movie where there was a musical, didn't we?
Oh,
or am I getting something else confused?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember.
There was something that we did not like.
Oh my god,
that was a musical, and I'm not talking about Strange Magic.
Okay, yeah.
Even though that does the jukebox musical thing, I think better than this does.
I was actually thinking of that too.
But there was a different one we did where I would say this does the music better than this movie does. But like I said, this is a total me thing. I get it. I will not poo-poo on your post toasties if you enjoy this music.
On your cereal?
This must be an East Texas song.
I'm from Arizona, man.
Fair.
Sorry.
I have no idea what has traveled outside this state and what hasn't.
That's fair. But I got what Retro did. Drew, tragic Drew.
Yes! I love that. It's so good. Thank you,
Roy. I am not I am not rating this tragic. Like I said, I'm aware I'm in the minority on this one. I assume there's at least one other person. At least I know my mom probably would agree with me.
My mom does too. She doesn't like this movie. When I said I was reviewing it, she's like, "Oh, that one?" I was like, "Yeah." She doesn't like it. She doesn't like dark fantasy stuff.
That would I think my mom would have been fine with, but I just know me and her do have some of the same musical tastes, and neither one of us are a fan of David Bowie.
Fair.
As a singer. So anyway, Steph, what's your third dislike?
My final dislike is more of a nitpick. This one has to do with the Fire Gang, the Fireys, as you mentioned. I loved their song. I thought they were entertaining little dudes. And I was good with the head throwing, but the more limbs started coming out and the more they started becoming homunculus versions of other things, I was a little grossed out, especially the flamingo. That was weird. It's like, hey, let's take all these limbs, arms and legs, and turn them into a flamingo with a random head chasing another head.
Yeah.
So and the eyeball. For some reason, I get the joke, the snake eyes joke, but it's just too much. But yeah, I think that was one of my few puppetry dislikes. I pretty much liked all the other puppetry performances. So yeah. Too many limbs.
You said you did not have a third dislike.
No, did not.
Then I guess that goes to me.
It does.
So mine also involves the Fireys, but it's because one of the people voicing a character in there slips into a voice. It really takes me out of this film.
I absolutely heard it.
Yeah, same here. I was like, oh, Drew's gonna hate that.
I was listening for different people. I'm like, oh, there he is. Elmo.
Here's the thing. It is the Elmo voice. It doesn't talk like Elmo.
No.
But I'm sitting there and it's like, and I'm sitting there kind of, I'm not saying I'm fully enjoying the scene because it is kind of, like you said, it is kind of weird and kind of off-putting, but I'm sitting there and I'm kind of engrossed in what's going on, and all of a sudden I hear Elmo, and I'm like, good night, what's going on? I'm not watching Sesame Street.
It kind of makes me think of like if Elmo was older, basically, if he was an adult.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Oh my gosh.
That's still class.
And wasn't talking in the third person.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am not a big fan of Kevin Clash in general because he has gotten himself into some trouble in the last couple of years. But and granted, his performances are good 99% of the time, including Elmo himself, even though I don't like the character. However, he slipped up here and switched and accidentally going into another voice, and I think that's where my issue lies. His slip up there took me out of the film.
Fair.
It may have been because it triggered me into thinking the horrors of my childhood have come back.
Where is it? Get it away!
No! Get him away! Get him away!
No, so here's the weird thing. I know I watched Sesame Street when I was of the appropriate age.
Right.
And I know Elmo was there. I don't remember at the time him being that annoying. But around the time the Tickle Me Elmo doll came out, that's when I started hating him.
Can I ask may I ask the lore of this hatred of the red thing?
It goes down to the fact that around the time he was introduced is when Kermit quit showing up on Sesame Street.
Oh, okay.
That's part of it.
Took away my frog!
It was around the time that the Muppets were technically separating from Sesame Street because Children's Television Workshop had been spun off into a separate company from the rest of Jim Henson. Why they did that, I don't remember. It was a thing that Jim Henson specifically did because, ironically, he did not want Sesame Street to get become a big commercial thing. He wanted to say public access television.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
I say ironic considering recent events.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
But this is around the time that initial thing was taking off. Some Muppet characters quit showing up on that, and this is also around the time the Sesame Street characters quit cameoing in Muppet stuff too.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because that's around the time. And granted, it's completely separated, but there's just something about, I was never really a fan of Elmo originally. And then Tickle Me Elmo was just so freaking annoying.
Right.
And then every time you turn on Sesame Street, even if you're just flipping past, I was like, oh no, there's Elmo. It's like, Elmo is not the star of Sesame Street. Get him off the screen. I know he's the most popular one. He's the one that showed you that Sesame Street could be monetized, and you monetized the heck out of him.
Yes, he did.
I hate Elmo.
Well, goodness. Okay.
So I think this was what's the movie we were talking about? The musical?
Emmett Otter.
Emmett Otter? Yeah.
That was a good one, though. I liked that one.
That was very good.
Yeah. I haven't
that's a good one.
seen that. I need to, though. It sounds really cute. I've seen a clip of the the outtakes that they had for that, and they're hysterical.
Oh yeah, that's funny. That was really good. So kind of your
fair change.
So kind of bouncing off your dislike of Elmo.
Yes.
I have one line from a very famous movie. I made a funny Splinter from Turtles.
Oh,
I can't even do his voice.
it has been a hot minute since I watched the original Turtles.
Oh yeah, no, I
we're gonna have
haven't
to
seen
remedy
it in
that.
years.
I know we have talked about that.
Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That has been on the docket to get on here eventually. Yes. So it's not from lack of trying.
Yeah,
though if we wait just a couple, I think that technically would be the next Henson film chronologically.
Yeah,
that is true.
And so, not that I was intentionally putting Henson films chronologically.
That is true. And then we have be like, we're doing the first Turtles film. Then everybody's going like, I gotta be on this show.
I will say it is not on before the wedding. So Unless someone wants to pay us $10.
If you want to, go to patreon.com/cellcast.
There is still spots available.
Yeah, if you want to do turtles, let's do turtles.
Or anything else for that matter.
Yeah, within reason.
Within reason. There is one movie that is definitely a no.
Oh.
But anyway.
What is it?
Will not be said on this podcast.
Okay. Fair.
We'll tell you later.
We'll tell you after. We'll talk about it in chat.
You got it.
Anyway, do we have anything else before we rate this film?
No.
Steph, why don't you go ahead and rate this film first for us?
I think out of 10, I would give it an 8.5.
Okay.
And do you want me to elaborate, or is that all?
Yeah, go ahead and elaborate.
Elaborate
Okay.
on it.
I think that, like, you know, the elaboration.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
great.
Oh, sorry. You
artistry
froze
of it
out there for a
is
second.
excellent. Oh no! Gotta do a little poopy. All right. The artistry is great. The puppetry is super fun. It's got great little characters in it. Lots of good character acting. Sir Didymus is the best thing in the world. I love him to death. And just all of him. Like, I love that character from stop to start. But you know, it's a musical, which people can like. I would give it an 8.5 because some people don't like David Bowie. Some people think this is just stinking weird. I know my mother, I said, is one of them. It's definitely kind of a niche genre, you know, the whole dark fantasy thing. And, you know, some people may not be okay with how young Sarah Connolly is compared to David Bowie in the film. But, and unfortunately, some people may not be a fan of how specifically goblinish the puppets are, you know, because they might think Sesame Street and Muppets when they think Jim Henson.
Yeah.
But I like it. Yeah, I think 8.5. Good solid 8.5.
Gotcha.
Jacob, what are you rating this?
I will dance into that exact same frame of mind. 8.5. This is a brilliant film. Story wise, that wonderful idea of from going into childhood into more adulthood, and not leaving the childhood fantasy behind, and growth and overcoming stuff. I love those elements of the story. Puppetry, artistry, everything about this movie is gorgeous, is well done. You can nitpick everything to death about this film. But overall, it is an enjoyable film that has so much wonderful, good things that obviously it has become a cult classic. That's why everyone just raves about it. And I wish it would have gotten better reviews, because I've seen it's like awkwardly interesting as one critique did. Like very this is weird kind of film, but it's so well done. It's so well done, and I'm glad we reviewed it. And I might actually buy the version Drew has because I like that cover. That slipcover is great. But overall, I'll be highly recommend it. If you can, buy a version of it or download it if you have to. Yeah. What about you, Drew?
Well, I know y'all are expecting me to just poo-poo this whole thing.
Yeah.
However,
because it reminds you of Elmo.
We have a consensus on the rating. I will tell you right now, because I'm going 8.5 also.
Ta-da!
This is technically very well done.
Yes.
Acting is top-notch. We've already talked about the one really detrimental thing that's really knocking at points for me in reality, being that one scene.
The worm destroys it.
The worm was fine. The worm himself was fine. The editing around him, another story. But yeah, I am giving it an 8.5 because it is just an excellent film. Is it my favorite Jim Henson related film? Not by a long shot.
Right.
But it's a very well made film.
Yes.
So yeah, 8.5.
Excellent.
Next week on Jacob's first movie pick of the year, we are going to be reviewing the film 9. which I know very little about, other than it came out at the time of another movie called 9. That was a live action film, and when we were trying to sell these things at Walmart, people would always buy the wrong one and not realize it till they had it open.
Yeah.
Aren't these the little voodoo looking guys? It's that one, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, little potato sack men.
Yeah, I'm literally thinking Sackboy from
something adventure, big adventure, big.
No, what is the name of it? It's a PlayStation exclusive thing. Media Molecules, the company behind it. The character is Sackboy. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. You know.
So yeah, that's who it reminds me of. And I know nothing about this film other than it's stop motion, and I think it's Leica, isn't it?
I don't know. Don't quote me on it.
I think it's CG, and I know Ewan McGregor's in it. That's all I know.
And Elijah Wood's in it.
Frodo and Obi-Wan in a movie together. That'll be fun. So join us next week for that. If you are currently hanging out in our Facebook group and want to vote on our upcoming Rewind films, as much like last year, we are still going over our year 1 reviews upcoming, and we are letting you vote on which order of the 3 we decided to do this year. So go vote for that on our Facebook page. And then, yeah. And of course, we're doing Evangelion after all this. Yeah. So join us for that. On the other side of the bumpers, we're going to be talking about what we've been watching, some news, and some perhaps our first interrogation of season 5. So join us there.
Should I be scared?
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out Geek Devotions. Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture-infused devotional, their podcast, Com Talk, a bunch of other podcasts you definitely want to check out, and written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in their geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. You can find all their content at geekdevotions.com. The Cellcast would also like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and Edwin Gonzalez. If you would like to donate to the Cellcast and get some uncut episodes from us, some artwork from Jacob, when I remember to post it, and, as we said earlier, forcing us to watch movies within reason and reviewing them on this show, you can donate to us on Patreon. So guys, I have a question for y'all.
What have you been watching?
Steph, why don't we start with you?
Okay, let's see. I think, obviously, most recent movie watching was Labyrinth.
Right.
Anime-wise, I've been watching Delicious in Dungeon. I haven't watched the newest episode, but I absolutely adore it. It's like D&D campaign, classic kind of, fantasy thing. But they decide with the monsters, hey, I want to eat that. And literally, it's like a cooking show, but it's Dungeons and Dragons. It's the coolest thing. And I'm not usually into like high fantasy as much, which is ironic since we're just talking about Labyrinth. But
Labyrinth isn't really high fantasy.
No.
So because high fantasy, I literally describe that as Lord of the Rings without the Tolkien.
Right.
Yeah. That's basically what this is. But yeah, it's just so funny because you know how anime has a great job of making food look better than it actually is in real life?
Yes, I have seen this food.
All of that. They have a specific food illustrator. It looks amazing. And it's cool. I just love it. So, it's the main thing.
That all you've been watching?
Well, I mean, I am the kind of person who has a tendency to binge certain shows and movies over and over and over again. So you probably don't want to know how many random rom-coms I have watched with my family in the last week that are just like, we have this of like 3 movies that we just watch perpetually. So
well, it is February, so it is the right time of year for watching romantic comedies.
Very true.
Yeah, the problem is we're still stuck on some of the Christmas ones. So
well,
we're one of those.
As many of those kind of movies come out at Christmas.
So many.
I mean, my mom's still working on last year's, and by that I mean 2022.
They come up with like 20 a year, and they all look the same. Like, you've seen that meme.
They're the same plot line.
They are.
Even the cover art, the picture.
Oh,
they all
literally.
look the same. It's so
Steph,
funny.
my worry is that one day I will finally get a girlfriend who is a great businesswoman who will go home for her vacation and fall in love with some rugged man with a single daughter who will teach her the true meaning of Christmas, and I will still be single. Why I can't be the lumberjack with the little, well, maybe not with the little girl. With the cat. With the cat. I'll take a cat. I will take a cat. I can teach some highfalutin city woman the true meaning of Christmas.
Right. Teach her how to do the chicken dance or something.
Something, yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I've never
seen
I
get it.
Before.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you know, like
I've sat through plenty of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've done a lot of those, a lot of Prime Video ones. Oh, I'm gonna sound so old right now.
Oh really?
Antiques Roadshow. We were
yeah.
That's fine. I get that.
With Antiques Roadshow, I love it. It's so much fun. I watch too much BBC. Too much.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Poirot, Foyle's War, just all of the British Bake Off. I was obsessed for years. So
gotcha.
I'll stop now because I can't. I'm talking about past shows, not current shows, but yeah.
Right. Jacob, what have you been watching?
So I really haven't been watching anything about watch YouTube at the end of the night because I'm tired. So my car's kind of been down for a while. Be having little issues here and there. Pray that I finally get it to work or whatever the Lord's will with that. So I've been walking to work every morning. So it's like a 1.5 mile walk. So most of the time I will listen to, and I've literally got them pulled up right here. Either the podcast Serial Killers from Spotify, from Serial Killers, the Ben Shapiro Show, 5 Things from CNN, the Matt Walsh Show.
Well, at least you're getting well-rounded news.
That is true. Morning
CNN and Ben Shapiro. Those are 2 entirely different sides of the conversation.
Morning Wire, Dateline for true crime, obviously. And what I recently got into, because obviously my brother brought it up while we were having dinner last week, and he mentioned New Heights, which is Travis and Jason. Oh crap! What are their last names?
I don't know.
They're football players.
I really don't know them.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Travis and Jason Kelso. One of them plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, and the other plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, who are going to the Super Bowl this year.
Kelso, wasn't he played by Ethan Peck?
Oh, shush. Yeah, just so happened that I think it's Jason, I believe he's actually dating Taylor Swift. So,
oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, because there's a ton of Swifties apparently listen to this show because of just a certain somebody who's related, who kind of has a relationship with somebody else. But cool. I mean, I enjoy it because I enjoy football. I mean, I enjoy watching football. Yeah, I don't get to see it a lot, but the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. Oh heck yeah, let's go!
Everybody likes football. Yeah.
Not everybody likes football.
I'm kind of in Jacob's territory. I don't mind watching it. It's an entertaining game.
Yes.
I don't care so much. The only time I ever cared was when Arizona went to the Super Bowl. That was the only time I ever cared because I had a horse in the race, basically.
I got you.
But I will cheer for whoever my friends want me to cheer for, basically.
20 years. Let's say that for Texans.
I will care about the Super Bowl when we get a Texans-Cowboys game.
Yeah. Or Weird Al.
That too. I will watch a Weird Al halftime show.
Yes. Yeah, dude, that'd be great.
But otherwise, I don't care about football. I sat through 3 years of high school football when I was in high school in the band. I am done with football.
Oh, sure. No, that's fair.
So
can you imagine
I played
Weird
ball.
Al
I love it.
singing?
It was something I grew up with. And I don't get to watch it a whole lot. But when they say be like Super Bowl party, I'm in.
Yeah,
I just hope they don't skip the commercials.
Yes,
Because the commercials are where it goes for the Super Bowl.
that's like the only reason I ever really watched the Super Bowl back when I did pay attention to it.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
but you can also watch those the next day on YouTube.
That is true, but you want to watch them there and then.
True.
But that's just me. That's just me. So, go Chiefs.
So, hey, that was at the end of yours?
Yes, that was the end of mine.
Sorry. Podcast-wise, since you did bring up podcasts, there are 2 podcasts I have recently started listening to that a former host, guest host on our show,
yes,
back on the Monsters Incorporated episode, James Hamrick, he started a new podcast like halfway through last year with a couple of his friends called Banter Fodder. Which, the minute I see banter, I thought about our friends Everett Banter first.
Yes.
And I thought, and before I realized that's why I was what I was being asked to like, I thought it was their stuff. Whereas, no, this is another thing. But they started that last year. It's just a basic movie appreciation show by a bunch of cinephiles. It's interesting to listen to. They make me feel like I'm about 10 years older than I actually am. And I obviously have different tastes than they do, but it's a good show. But the other thing is this week, they actually started a sideshow.
Really?
That is a Star Trek watch-through show.
Oh,
they're going back through the original series.
Nice.
They've only put out The Cage, and that show is called Live Long and Banter. I'm throwing those out there because if y'all are like me and y'all like good movie podcasts and like Star Trek, I'm suggesting those to go out there to go listen to. Also, I may be on Live Long and Banter later this year. I may have already secured a guest spot.
Ooh, very nice.
So also, I did watch an episode of the original series today. Namely, The City on the Edge of Forever. This entire time, I thought when they went back to the 1930s Earth, I thought they were in San Francisco. Then I saw the Brooklyn Bridge. And went, this isn't in San Francisco? And I got to think, it's like they never said in dialogue where they were, and they don't. And I'm guessing all previous versions of me watching the show this episode must have been the edited for TV version, meaning they had to cut something for commercials. And I'm guessing this establishing shot must have been what was cut, because it really the setting doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
But, because, I mean, you really look at it too much and you know your old classic TV, you realize this is taking place in Mayberry because that's the set they shot it on. Like, they walk right past Floyd's barber shop.
Oh, that's funny. I love it.
Yeah, I was watching that this afternoon, and I haven't really watched much else because I kind of fell into another video game.
Nice.
Of course.
What
game
is
are you
it?
playing now?
Persona 3 Reload.
Oh, nice.
Of course.
Another 80-hour game. Jeez. These games are long, but they're good games.
I can imagine.
And the story... Honestly, you might like this one. I say you might like this one. This is closer in terms of on par with, like, Evangelion in terms of darkness.
Oh, okay.
Wow. When you launch the game, there is a warning. It comes on screen that says, this game contains depictions of suicide, bullying, and I don't remember what the third thing was. It may have just been violence. And it's like, oh yeah, I bet it does.
Wow.
And it does. I mean, they summon their personas by firing a gun-shaped object into their head.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
I will show you the video before you leave.
Wow.
The starting video. But but the thing is, the story is... This is a remake of a PS2 game, and only reason I never played the PS2 game is it's not really easy to get a hold of to play on newer systems by the time I discovered this series. Plus, the original Persona 3 is missing a lot of the quality of life stuff from the later games that make it a lot more interesting to play. But I am kind of been really stuck on this one, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
JRPG.
So yeah, that's what I have been involved in watching and playing and stuff all this week.
Nice.
So Jacob, what do we have in the news?
Okay.
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Dealit, and thankfully I get turned into a goblin this show.
Transmogrifier still offline.
Good, thank the Lord. All right, so in the news, on this past Wednesday, they revealed the first trailer for Moana 2. They're gonna see a whole lot to it. It's just the trailer. It's coming out later this year on November 27th. CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, refrained from confirming whether the stars of the hit 2016 animated feature will return for the voice actors. However, Deadline reported that both Dwayne Johnson and, I'm going to butcher this actor's name, I apologize, Laura Calvroa. There again, I'm going to butcher it. I apologize. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. Are in talks of the sequel. Discussion.
It doesn't help that it's a Pacific Islander name.
Yes.
And those don't exactly use words.
Time with English.
That doesn't exactly use syllables we're used to.
No, we don't. Okay, so discussing with Dwayne Johnson, who played the demigod Maui in the original Pacific Island adventure, are appearing looking good. The former pro wrestler and turned blockbuster movie maker has producing apparently he's producing the previously announced live action adaptation of Maui. Why? Is my question. Why would you do that? Makes no sense.
But hey, hang on, I want to make sure I heard what I just heard. Did you say Maui is going to be animated in the live action one?
No, they're going to do a live action Maui. A live action.
Dwayne Johnson's going to be
I knew they were making a live action Moana.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought you said Maui was going to be animated in the live action Moana. I was going, why would you do that? Dwayne Johnson could pull that role off.
That is true. He's built like a mountain.
Granted, why are we making more live action animated movies?
Yeah.
Because Disney doesn't.
You have the Muppets. Give me Muppet Moana. I am there.
You know what I want? I want Muppet Princess Bride so badly.
Muppet Princess Bride?
So badly, yes.
I want Muppets Beauty and the Beast, where only where instead of it being a beast, it's actually just a normal human, and when he turns back to being, human again at the end, he turns into a Muppet.
Oh, that's great.
Kind of amazing.
That's
what I want.
So, going back to the news, through his company $7 banner. However, the project has been dropped from its original June 27, 2025 date release and appears is not in production. Disney and $7 did not add additional comments to this, so we don't know if actually there's no production of anything of this. So it might just be a rumor. And also from a good friend from the show, thank you, Heather, because she's always
she kept us up to date.
Oh my gosh, she was on top of it like no one's business. Because obviously we had Inside Out come out, Inside Out 2 trailer come out. We've already got 2 of them, so go check those out. We're on YouTube.
That came out as we were getting ready for last week's episode.
Yes, exactly. And so they announced Toy Story 5.
Why?
Will be released in 2026.
I'm sorry.
Again, why?
I don't want it.
We're going to get to this movie eventually.
Yeah.
Toy Story 3 had the perfect ending.
Exactly.
Toy Story 4, while not great,
it was all right.
showed that they needed to stop.
Exactly.
It was okay, but it was not the original trilogy. Why are we making a fifth one?
Yeah, exactly.
Where could they go with the story? Spoilers, Woody's not with the gang anymore.
Okay, here's my thought. Either A, Woody goes missing. They discover that
Woody's already missing. He's hanging out with little Bo Peep at the circus.
Yeah, or like they rehash the second one or something like that, where he gets kidnapped. The gang has to get him. Or we do something that kind of akin to our age group now. So we have Andy, who is now a little bit older. He's now in career, and he's got assets to burn. So he goes back and buys the gang back for his.
Oh yeah, that would be real good for that little girl that he sold. He gave those things, those toys to. Yeah. Plus, he's still going to have Woody because Woody's not with that group anymore, and now he's going to be wondering why there's this spork with with pipe cleaners all over it.
Freaking spork character,
right?
Porky, that's it.
Forky needs to die. Forky is the Elmo of Toy Story.
Yeah, kind of. A little bit. But they showed Buzz the picture. They showed Buzz flying over, and it looked like there were carnival rides.
Yes.
So I think they're going to have Woody cameo, basically.
Probably.
Sounds like it, but I'm still going, why? Let this be done. You are allowed to stop. You're allowed to let a franchise be.
It can die gracefully. It can. It really can.
Yeah, but they won't let it.
Thank you, Heather.
Every time we think they're out, they pull it back in.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, just be like, for me, it's like, go back to what Disney was doing back in the 90s.
Make new stuff.
Because the last best stuff they did new was Strange Worlds, and that movie didn't do well.
Well,
I didn't.
I still haven't watched that film, so I don't know what's going to be bad about it.
I like the idea of it.
If it's anything like Lightyear was, which also should probably, that could have been good.
Yeah,
similar.
But obviously they don't know what they're doing. So anyway, sorry.
Similar in theme.
Huh?
Oh, Lightyear was similar in theme as Strange World. I've seen them both.
Oh, okay.
To quote another Disney property that they bought, let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
That is true. Goodness. That is so true. So going into news, and again, thank you so much, Heather, for your devotion to keeping us updated what's going on in the world of animation. We got the official new logo for Sonic Hedgehog 3.
Yeah.
And
I'm so excited about that.
No, you think?
The fact
I'm going to let you finish your news, and if you have left one tiny little interesting thing out, I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
It's not really official news, but it's because of how the internet's reacting, especially fans.
Okay. So apparently we are getting a Knuckles show on Paramount Plus.
I am interested in that.
Yeah, with Idris Elba reprising his role as Knuckles, and it looks cool because apparently it's a road trip movie, and you go watch the trailer. There again, thank you, Heather, for giving us update what's been going on in the news. And let me think. Is there anything else that's been up to date?
So I do want to talk about one little interesting cultural thing related to that Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yes.
They also announced people who have agreed to be on the film, but they haven't announced their roles yet.
Yes.
One of these actresses has blonde hair.
Oh,
which makes everyone think that, and if you're doing a Shadow movie, you gotta bring in his past with Maria Robotnik, which means the internet is strangely happy about the possibility of seeing a teenage girl get shot in a Sonic the Hedgehog film.
Jeez, no.
Now, it's been a hot minute. Correction, it's been 3 years. Maybe 2 years. Whenever it was I played Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Adventure 2 on stream, since I saw the original clip of Maria's death, and I went back and watched that.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious how bad, if it really showed anything. And of course, it doesn't. You don't even hear a gunshot. It's just, you hear them being chased, and then she's kind of doubled over, grabbing her stomach, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Wait for
and then I checked out when they redid this scene in Shadow the Hedgehog. You know, the one where you're rolling around as Shadow the Hedgehog with a gun. because that was a great idea for a game. But this is since it's trying to figure out who he really is, we get this scene again. And that, strangely enough, does not show anything other than what I just described, but in slightly higher fidelity because it's a newer console.
Yes.
Then I remembered that Sonic the Adventure 2 was adapted in the Sonic X anime.
Oh, no.
So I had to go check that one out to see how they did it. Guess which of these three was the most graphic?
Sonic X.
Sonic X. They have a whole thing where they are trying to find out what happened to... You only get to see it from Shadow's point of view. Sonic, I think it's actually Tails, and whatever the strange human from that show was, are talking to the security guard who was chasing Shadow and Maria.
Okay.
And we're seeing it from his point of view because he's actually sad that this happened.
Yeah, he has regret.
So, in other words, it's all, in every other version in the games, it's only alluded to, and that she died, and that it may have been a gunshot. They nearly just show it in the anime, which is real funny when you consider this was adapted in America by 4Kids.
Oh my gosh.
Kids, yeah.
I checked that edit too.
Of course.
They don't even show anything.
Okay.
But
I thought I remember seeing the cinematic for Shadow the Hedgehog. They actually show the gun point up.
They show a gun point up because it is a more thing, but they don't. You don't hear the gun go off, and you don't see the gun go off.
I heard it in one of the cinematic. I don't know. Maybe it
so.
was a one for a trailer. Maybe it wasn't in the game.
But the one in I thought it was funny that the Sonic X one, he's literally pointing this gun in both the 4Kids version and the original Japanese version at this 12-year-old girl, or however old she is, and then they have to cut away from him actually pulling the trigger in the American version.
Yeah. I mean,
because it's for kids, and yet Paramount's going to probably do this a lot worse than everybody else.
No, I don't want to see it. No,
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it's not going to be that bad because
it's Paramount.
At worst, this is going to be rated PG.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what the others are rated.
Yeah.
But we did actually get one other little interesting trivia tidbit.
Jim Carrey's going to be back?
We talked about that last week.
We did.
Woo!
I'm actually referring to one other little thing we learned this week. That that while Crush 40 is not connected to the film, one of their songs is... Oh no!
Yes.
It's already been the rights were already sold to Paramount for this. So with any luck, we're not going to get a crappy version of Live and Learn.
Okay, that's fair. But I mean,
how many times I've heard this song on trips with Drew? I'll be like, it's great. Do not get me wrong, it's great.
There's a reason that during the Sonic Symphony, it was the encore song.
It's amazing.
So, yeah. Anyway, sorry, that's my last part of my news.
Okay, good. Because it'd be like, once I said Sonic, it's like, oh, Drew is probably just dug everything he could.
Not really. It's just, I happen to be, I was like, okay, cool. We got the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming up. We've got this Knuckles TV show coming up. All that sounds great. I am here for it. I don't care if everybody else hates it. I'm here for it. And then I'm just on Kotaku. Always a mistake. I was on Kotaku one day, and they've got this story up there of how people are excited to see a 12-year-old get shot.
Oh, gosh.
This sounds like something Kotaku would latch onto. And I didn't even bother reading it. I just saw the headline and moved on.
Yeah.
And then I was on IGN. And they're reporting on it too. It's like, okay, this is actually a big thing, isn't it?
Right.
Y'all are this is taking over the internet and parts of the internet I'm not on.
The ones you don't want to be on.
Well, I'm sure it's Reddit. At least.
Probably.
Actually, in all honesty, it's 4chan. And I ain't going to be on 4chan.
No 4chan.
I don't even go on Reddit.
So, yeah. Is that all we got for news?
Yes.
Then I get to play a bumper we haven't played in a while.
Yes.
Interrogation.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, we are finally back with a new interrogation segment where our listeners know we have a new or recurring guest where we go and ask them a drill of questions they have not been prompted to They have no prep time for this.
Oh,
So
The only prep time that Miss Stephanie got was when she asked what was going to happen. I said, there's probably going to be an interrogation, which I can't tell you anything else about.
exactly.
And I was like, okay.
So Steph, they're going to be like, you have been a very wonderful follower of our show, very much alive in our comment sessions and on our the cell chat and everything. Just be like, you are very colorful and very much alive in those chats. Again, thank you for that. So getting into the interrogation proper, what was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Oh, gosh, there's so many. I think the ones I probably watched the most were, that I can think of, were Sailor Moon. The movie that I watched over and over and over again was My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, nice.
Good choice.
Very good choice.
Mostly Disney. So pretty much if anything was on Disney Channel, I'd be there. Disney Channel, Nickelodeon,
excellent.
Cartoon Network.
What was the last animated film you went and saw in theaters?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I honestly have no idea. It's me and Mom haven't watched movies like in theater in years.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because of, outside the thing that
COVID.
will not be named. Yeah.
I gotcha.
The thing that haunted us our second year on the show.
Exactly.
Thanks, COVID.
Right. I know that I don't know. I hate to say it, the only one I can think of that I saw on Netflix recently was the second Chicken Run movie.
How was that, by the way?
Yeah, we haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah, how was that?
It's one of those where it didn't necessarily need to be made, but it's cute.
Okay.
It did need to be made, so DreamWorks would not have any part of it.
Oh,
True.
to keep the rights, yeah.
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 But yeah, oddly enough, it kind of toned down on the Britishness a little bit, which I wasn't happy with. I feel like since they've been doing Netflix stuff, they're trying to cater a little bit more. Oh, I'm sorry. I lied. The most recent animated film I watched then was Shaun the Sheep, the movie.
Shaun the Sheep.
Okay.
The movie, yes. It's the cutest thing ever.
Farmageddon?
No, the
Is that the name
actual
of it?
first one. The first one.
Oh, okay.
That was 2017, I think.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Way better. Cuter, more whimsy. Yeah, it's a lot better. But yeah, that.
Okay.
Okay. Your least favorite animated film? One you just can't stand.
The Elmo of animated films.
I'm happy to say I don't really have a lot of those. I just know in general that if it's badly animated, like if the quality isn't good, or especially if the syncing of the lips isn't correct, that messes me up. Like, especially if you have someone who they jump around between studios so that the syncing is wrong. Oh, I hate that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was so unprepared.
That's part of the
That's part of the
Part of it,
interrogation.
yeah.
To throw you something you're not expecting.
No, exactly.
What was an animated either movie or television series you watched as a kid and went back and rewatched as an adult and you didn't like it as much?
Pokemon.
Pokemon, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I watched the dub version, and it's kind of hokey. I mean, it's supposed to be, but I really wish I could go back and watch the original Japanese dub so I can get more of what they're actually going for.
Oh, okay.
That can be found.
Oh, I'm sure.
In legal places, actually.
Yeah.
I think actually, no, because the ones on Netflix are
Prime,
the
probably.
4Kids version.
Yeah.
So, and those are edited, so you can't have the Japanese in that.
Yeah. But yeah, it can be found somewhere.
So the thing I think about Pokemon, I think of the eternal 12-year-old who after 20 years finally wins a championship.
First off,
I knew it.
He won the Orange League back in the original run.
But they're like, no, he has to keep going.
Well, the fact that the Orange League was not actually based on a game.
On anything. It was all filler.
It was all filler.
It was a good filler saga. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's actually, from what I remember, it was good.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fact that it took him 20 years to win the thing, despite the fact it's probably only 3 or 4 years in universe, probably. And the fact that he's able to pretty much go around the entire Pokemon world in 1 year because he happens to know a professor.
True.
Physically impossible.
But let's face it, you go back and you watch the Indigo League and you realize how horrible a trainer Ash actually is. I'm not talking about he was ignorant. I mean, he's like Team Rocket were better Pokemon trainers than he was.
Well, I mean, there's that theory too. They're like, every time he goes to a new region, his Pokemon, like in the game, they become experience locked, so that they basically go down to 0 every single time, and that's why.
A lot of times from what he actually doesn't. He leaves all his old Pokemon. Back. How it's in the games, it would be in PC, but wherever they're all, his 80 Tauros are still running around Oak's Plantation back there.
They will never
he always
just
goes with Pikachu. The fact of the matter that Pikachu at this point should be like one-shotting everything.
Everything, yeah.
Even the fact that he never evolved into Raichu, which admittedly there was a good reason for that, but he should be one-shotting everything at this point.
Absolutely everything. Yep.
All I gotta say is kudo, Neko. Kudo. They're gonna be like, I watched Digimon, so that's where my bias comes from.
Cool.
Digimon's got good storytelling. I just wish that their Digivolutions actually made sense.
But it's fun. Let's say that.
I don't mind.
So, Digimon is the only thing where the monster could go from being a house cat to a female angel, and no one bat an eye.
That's true. That one I understand that one. I get that one.
Yeah. And that's like the most. That's like the one that didn't surprise us, right?
Well, I mean, Patamon's not really even like a specific animal. He's just like, I remember TK was making a joke. He's like, "Oh, are you a pig?" "I'm not a pig, TK." Like,
I'm not a pig.
No, he's a guinea pig with wings.
Basically.
Yeah, that's true.
Your wings.
A really big guinea pig.
Really guinea.
He's cute though.
Anyways, so getting back into the interrogation.
Let's not forget the little puppy Digimon that turns into a giant rabbit with machine gun arms.
Oh,
I love
Terriermon.
Yeah, that.
He's a lot bunny. He's the bunny.
Which it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I'm still going as the person who is on the Pokemon side of the fence.
Fair.
Yeah. You want it to make sense.
Makes no sense. At least when Pokemon evolve, you can kind of see, with some exceptions, but for the most part, you can see how one went to gain the other. Fair.
Except for Slowbro. Slowbro makes no sense.
Slowbro, what I would like to know is, how does the Shelder evolve to a different form, but only when it's connected to Slowpoke?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
And if it falls off, why isn't that a Pokemon separate? Because that's obviously an evolution of that one.
That's true.
But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So, getting back into the interrogation, this was all amazing talk, but back into interrogation. So, are you an anime fan?
Yes.
Okay. So, what anime universe would you not want to be stuck in?
Oh gosh, pretty much any of them that aren't slice of life. Because you're gonna die, but
if it's shonen, yes.
True.
Like literally, you said that first thing that popped in my mind: Attack on Titan.
Oh no.
Yeah. Run.
Or that's a funny thing is that I'm an anime fan, but I'm more of a casual. So like hilariously, the really popular stuff, I have no idea. But
Fair.
I think out of my knowledge, probably wouldn't want to be in, like you said, like a shonen anime, because I wouldn't be able to survive.
That is true.
Naruto, Attack on Titan, what's another one of them? Promised Neverland.
The one where the kids get eaten.
Yeah, so ones like that. So
yummy kiddo snack. No thanks.
But what's the other one? Made in the Abyss?
Made in the Abyss.
Oh, anyway. I'm one of those people that looks up clips of things, and of course I decide to look at them and I see all the traumatic ones because that's the one that people are popular.
Yeah.
Exactly. So pass. I'll take a shoujo, thank you. like a non supernatural shoujo, just regular.
I got you. I love the response that Neko brought up.
Yeah, those are your two picks.
Yeah, Evangelion and Inuyasha.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Or Berserk.
Bear in mind, this is ones we don't want to be in. So I agree. I don't want to be in the world of Evangelion.
No,
especially what I ran across when I was doing research today.
Oh, you poor thing.
We'll get to it, but
we'll get there.
We'll get there when we get there.
Mm.
But as a tease, they mentioned something that I had to double check because I could have sworn it was named something else. And I was right. But they don't tell you that for a long time.
I gotcha.
So anyway.
But, okay, cool. So, like a very classic one we love to do. If you were stuck on a desert island, you had a television, able to watch, what animated series, anime or American or wherever series you could bring with you, but you only bring one with you? What would it be?
Oh, that's so hard. You're going to think I'm weird. Maybe not, but
unless it's like a one episode thing.
Yeah.
There's a show that I absolutely adore. It's called Cheese Sweet Adventures. It's literally
the one about the kitten.
About the kitten, exactly. You know, so
I've run across. I've not watched it. This is not the one I was telling you about a couple years ago about the anime where it's about a guy who adopts a kitten and you see the story from both their points of view.
Yeah,
it's not that one.
My new boss is Goofy. That's the one. Because I've seen that cat, and I love that cat. I'm obsessed with cats. So, but yeah, it's cute because, like, you can tell it's an anime made for kids, but it doesn't play dumb. It makes the cat seem dumb because she's a little baby. Like, she doesn't know anything. But it's really sweet. It shows her and her family, and I would bring that. Only subs, only English subs, because I'm biased. And
no worries.
It's cute. I would bring that. Can I cheat and give a secondary option?
Sure.
Bluey.
Well, Bluey, yeah.
Bluey, okay.
I love Bluey so much.
Bluey, well,
it's so good.
I have an interesting history with Bluey because I did a commission. Like last year, I think it was last year. A dear friend of ours, Chase Beal, his friend, reached out to me like, "Hey, can you do Bluey with Star Wars?"
Ooh.
And so I did
for a commission.
And so I had no idea what Bluey was, so I had to go to Disney Plus and find it. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking good. The writing is so well done on Bluey. I was like, I'm impressed. This is a little kids show that is so well written.
That's made for the parents.
I know that this show is while it is a kids show, it's made for the adults and the writing is good.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen clips where it's like, oh, I see what you're doing there. It's just the general tone I can't get through.
Fair.
It's just like a little too preschool for me.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Fair. Well, you can tell by the way I talk probably that I'm very bubbly, high-pitched air person.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that because that's
fair.
Like me sometimes.
Bubbly, I don't mind. It's just this is a little. It's a little too Nick Jr. for me.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the best way I know how to put that.
That's fair.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be Dragon Ball either. Sorry.
No,
I do not want to be.
There is a manga about it. It's an isekai story of a guy who gets teleported into the Dragon Ball world and ends up as Yamcha, and has to survive.
Oh, jeez.
And I want to read it.
Oh my gosh, poor Yamcha.
Hajirobe, the big fat guy with the sword.
Yeah, Yajirobe.
Yeah, Yajirobe.
Yeah, he survived somehow. He's somewhere out there.
Well, he knows Korin, who is like right below Kami in terms of godhood.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I mean, he's got some supernatural protection there.
Right, that's true.
Oh my god!
But no, this is Yamcha.
Yeah,
the one who is famous both here and in Japan for his death scene, where after he gets blown up by a Cyberman, and that whole shot of him lying dead in that
has been memed so
in the
many
thing has
times.
been memed so bad. That's the guy that the guy gets teleported into the world as.
Oh, that's funny.
And all I think about that now is to be like Dragon Ball Z abridged, and it's just like it's just so funny.
Cadaverific.
Cadaverific.
we're going to have to find a way to do Dragon Ball Z Abridged on this show.
You need to. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But we've got so many other Dragon Ball things to do on this show.
And now they're doing Dragon Ball Z Abridged shorts.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that's
they
mostly
have been,
done. But yeah, they're still doing stuff.
Yeah,
But
they're still doing stuff with it. But so another round of questions. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of something. If I'm trying to think. If you were to introduce an animation, either an animated movie or an anime to like your parents or whatever, your mom, your dad, whatever, what would you want to introduce them, knowing that they might, I don't know if they might have a bias towards it or not, but trying to introduce them to something that is something you love and you want them to love as well?
Oh, that'd be hard because mom's not an anime person.
Okay, fair enough.
I think the one that would be the easiest palatable for her would be the Cheese Sweet Adventure one, because she actually has watched it before a little bit, and she was like, "Oh, that's cute," you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if it was my friends and like general acquaintances who actually like anime, I'd want to have them watch Delicious in Dungeon. I think they might actually like it. It's funny. Cool. It's good.
Oh,
the fact that it's a cooking show in a dungeon in a D&D campaign basically is just the funniest thing ever.
Oh my gosh. So kind of this, be like, what is your favorite Disney movie?
Oh, also a hard thing.
Yes.
Let's see. I think I have categories. Disney princess wise, Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Love that movie.
What do you think about the remake? Or the live action movie?
I feel like it's because I've watched a lot of BBC stuff, and I kind of see the silly way that they had
fair,
the way that they acted and stuff, like the niceties and the politeness and stuff. I've seen how that makes sense a little more in a real world kind of setting, for Beauty and the Beast. It's okay, but I mean, nothing's going to compare to the animated version.
That is so true.
The micro expressions and just everything. And obviously, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be Belle. Not gonna lie, have sung the songs very many times recently. Anyway,
yes.
I'm a Disney karaoke person. Anyhow.
Oh yeah.
Pixar wise, WALL-E, absolutely love the sound design, love the story, love the characters. My second favorite for that one is Ratatouille, just because of the way that the character design is like all caricatures and the soft lighting. Artistic wise, it is excellent.
I've never seen WALL-E.
Oh, it's so cute.
You've not watched WALL-E?
No, I've never seen WALL-E.
It's good.
We need to do that one soon.
Okay. It's really cute.
I may put that on after the wedding.
Okay.
It's adorable. It's really cute. But
unless somebody pays us $10 and gets it on there sooner.
Heck, I might do that. Let's see. Put on your Sunday clothes. There's lots of world out there. Anyway, I think that's probably my best favorite one.
Okay, so I there again. This is going into a little more detail of Beauty and the Beast, the live action movie. What did you think of? What is your thought on Josh Groban's cover of Evermore from that film?
Oh, thank you so much, because I actually just listened to that recently. The way Josh Groban sings, it's always airy. It's always up high, floaty. It's very like angelic kind of. But I kind of think that doesn't quite match the tone of the song itself. Yeah. Hilariously, I know that poor guy who sang it, I can't remember his name. They had to auto-tune the heck out of it. Dan Stevens. And I know it sounds funky, but it matches because he's acting it out. Like he's an actor. So he's putting the inflection in that song. So I think in notes, Josh Groban's is better. In actual tone and performance of the scene, the original is better.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So so with Disney going in and doing live action remakes of all their classics, what is one of the Disneys, ever since they haven't touched yet, you don't want them to touch?
I kind of don't want them to do Lilo and Stitch. Because I know they're planning on it. I know they are, I know. But
the only good thing about that is that Chris Sanderson is still voicing Stitch in that. So he's got to sign off on everything.
He's got to sign off, yeah. Because like it's so stylized. It's not even the Disney stylization with like, the giant hips and the big legs. And
that's definitely Chris Sanderson.
Everything is rounded. There are no harsh edges anywhere on anything. And it's just great. I love that. I wouldn't want them to necessarily change that. With Atlantis, I kind of am yes and no on it because I would love for it to get a resurgence. But again, it's the same thing. The animation, the stylization. I was actually just looking at the character designs for Atlantis and how it's so different again from what they've done before, classic Disney. I wouldn't necessarily want them to alter that per se.
Fair enough.
Plus, it's Michael J. Fox voice acting.
Yeah,
I love
of course.
That. I love that.
Great Scott.
Yeah. Johnny be good. All right.
Exactly. Yeah. Back to the Future all the way. One, they should never remake that film. Never.
What I think they ought to do is announce that they are releasing a new version of Groundhog Day. And then you go to see it in the theater, and it's the same movie.
I have heard that joke. I have heard that meme, and I want it to happen now.
I do. I so want it to happen.
It needs to.
Because it would take... We would all be... Don't show a trailer.
Yeah.
Or shoot a fake trailer for all I care. And you go into that movie thinking you're going to see a brand new movie, and all of a sudden it's the same movie. And about 5 minutes into it, you'd understand what they were doing.
Oh my gosh,
it's literally you just shoot this this prelude to it, and it's like, oh, this is a new movie. No, it's the same film.
And then put the music. Well, put your little hand in mine from the alarm clock.
Start the movie with that, and then just and that use that as the opening credits, and then you flash back, and then just play the movie as normal.
Yes, please.
Don't even show anything. Just play that over the I don't know who the studio was that did that off the top of my head, but show their logo. But instead of hearing the fanfare, you just hear that audio clip. And then the movie starts as normal.
Oh, I agree, Neko. Aristocats can't be live action. I feel like it would be hard to do.
It would.
It would be hard to do.
It would be like
Dumbo.
It'd be Lion King all over again.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen
except that actually has humans in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. It's got great songs though. Aristocats does.
That is true.
I know this isn't the question, but it's the first thing that popped in my mind. I still want there to be a Kingdom Hearts level based on the Rescuers.
Yes.
Where the Rescuers are helping Sora because Sora's the kid they're helping.
Oh,
that is good. Yes, absolutely.
Cool, dude. Oh my god.
It doesn't even have to be based on a specific movie. Just they're helping Sora get through whatever he's got to do. So put it on a standard world, but you're running around with Bianca and Bernard. Yes. Unfortunately, we're not going to have Zsa Zsa Gabor and what is his name?
Bob Newhart.
Because I believe neither one are with us anymore.
Yeah, they both passed.
So, but still, it's like, do something with that. That would be awesome.
I want that so bad now.
Oh my gosh. That was actually a good question. That was actually a very good question. But if you were to be Rescuers,
if you were to pick a movie for a Kingdom Hearts level, what would it be?
There we go.
Okay, let's think.
And I will even open it up to anything that Disney produces. Not just Disney or Pixar.
Okay.
Roger Rabbit, anybody?
Oh,
that would be too expensive.
Fox, bro? It's Fox, isn't it?
No,
Fox.
Roger Rabbit's Disney.
No. I mean, that Disney produces now.
Yeah, I will include Fox, 20th Century Fox in that.
Okay, so that means that could be any of the Marvel stuff. That could be any of the Star Wars stuff. That could be... Gosh. Ooh, how about Muppets?
Alien.
How about Muppets?
I'm all for a Muppets level.
Yeah.
I want to see what Sora looks like as a Muppet.
Of course, that'd be awesome.
I want to see that now. Oh my gosh.
Kermit the Frog. Oh my gosh, what's going on?
It would be simple. You base it off the Muppet Show, and instead of you having to fight Heartless on the level, this is your mini game stage.
Oh my gosh. Like the dark.
So literally, all the mini games are just all the acts during the Muppet Show, and between the acts, you get little scenes backstage with Kermit and Miss Piggy, doing their thing, or whomever.
I kind of love that, and I want that to happen.
Cool. So I think that's the end of the interrogation.
Thank you. That was fun.
You're welcome.
So, because you're not staying with us for the Ava stuff, which we totally understand.
Yeah, totally get it.
We're going to go ahead and let you go after this. But first, why don't you tell us where we can find you online?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So as I said before, my handle's ArtsiSteph. That's ArtsiSteph. So I have art accounts, ArtsiSteph Art, things like Facebook. Have my artwork. I've actually been able to illustrate some books.
Nice.
Really nice.
Fun, yes. You might know the guy who I've illustrated him with. His name is A.C. Peckham.
I've run across his stuff.
Bear. I got to do Bun Bear. So that's the book that I'm in. So yeah, yes. I've been able to illustrate some books, and it's been fun. So yeah, you can find me pretty much if you Google ArtsiSteph and that spelling. No one else has taken it, so you'll find me somewhere.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, in that case, thank you, ArtsiSteph, for joining us on the Cellcast. I guess we will talk at you later.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Short notice. It's been
and thank you for coming on.
Yes.
No problem.
All right.
Card Captors, a mystic adventure. Card Captors, a quest for all time.
She is the one named Sailor Moon.
Pokemon, gotta catch 'em. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon.
It's time to do.
Digimon, Digital Monsters, Digimon, Darla Champions. Yayo. Set sail for One Piece.
Yo, Shinji, get in the robot. Your dad loves you, get in the robot. The cockpit's too small for a grown-up. Kick some butt in your robot. Emotional damage.
Once again, that's Stephen He saying emotional damage, and Eagle 8 Burger is the one who did the quote-unquote Lost 4 Kids opening, so go check all that stuff out.
Yes.
Tonight, we are looking at 2 episodes. We are on 15 and 16, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that's the numbers, not that it matters.
Yeah.
First one tonight, Lies in Silence, or Those Women Longed for the Touch of Others' Lips and Thus Invited Their Kisses. Hideki Anno, why the long names? Directed by Naoyasu Habu and written by Hideaki Anno and Akiya Satsukawa. In this episode, Shinji visits his mother's grave in the company of his father, and Masato reflects upon her bygone romance with Kaji. Soon afterwards, Kaji and Masato discover a startling secret within Nerve's terminal dogma.
Dum dum dum.
This episode, there is no new cast. Trivia. Our Angel appearance. I specifically wrote this as Adam ?
Yes.
Because I am already aware of something. Because I watched the Rebuild films, and I swear in the first one, they kind of already go ahead and show this particular one.
Yes.
And I do remember them calling him Adam, but something told me this was not Adam. Don't know what. Something told me that's not who it was, and so I was making sure I was double checking. Maybe this was thinking, is this a goof up with the Netflix stub I'm watching or something? No, it's just that don't actually tell you who this is until episode 25.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you who it is either until then. Anyway, during the wedding sequence in this,
yes,
you hear 3 girls singing a song in Japanese. The song is Tento Mushi no Samba, which is the Ladybug's Samba.
Okay.
It is a very popular song sung at Japanese weddings since 1973. And in this version, it is sung by Megumi Ogata, aka the voice actress for Shinji Ikari, Yuko Miyamura, the voice actress for Asuka Langley Soryu, and Miki Nagasawa, who is Maya Ibuki. Yeah, the student council president.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That was the one that threw me off too. I was like, Maya Ibuki? Who is Maya Ibuki? Because it's not a name that's come up a lot.
I think she's simply just called Mai.
And probably, but in the Japanese version, she's Maya. It was a bonus track on the Neon Genesis Evangelion Edition album. It was originally released by Cherish, the husband-wife duo of Yoshitaka and Etsuko Matsuzaki, in 1973, to widespread success within Japan, and the song remains quite popular and is played at weddings.
Yeah.
The version of Fly Me to the Moon in this is sung by Masato, and it is once again the 4-beat instrumentation.
I gotcha.
What's your thought on this episode?
Oh my gosh. Well, the first thing that comes to mind with this, the kiss between Shinji and Asuka.
I'm sitting there watching and go, he can't breathe!
I love that. It's so funny.
I get the thing where she clamps his nose because breathing through your nose apparently tickles when you're kissing.
It does.
I'm sure it does. I'm thinking, surely this is not going to take long.
No.
45 seconds to a minute later.
Yeah.
And
Pippin shows up.
And it's not just... like, I half expected when we're going to get a long, drawn-out thing like this, that this is one of Evangelion's famous fill time movements because we ran out of money for this episode.
Oh.
Kind of thing that happens from time to time.
Right, agree.
Where we stay on a shot too long, but we have to cover this amount of time.
Right.
Except no, Pin walks in, sees what's going on, walks into his refrigerator, closes the door, and then Shinji's skin turns purple.
Oh, it's
already
color.
purple, but I think that's when it turned blue.
Yeah, it would go like from gray
to... Let the man breathe!
Oscar!
And then she does by running into the bathroom.
Like gargling.
Well, here's the thing. In the ADV, I read it in the ADV dub, she kind of lets out a blech.
Yeah.
Before she does it. That is not the other versions.
Oh, really?
That is an ADV edition because it's not supposed to come across as the experience was disgusting.
Yeah.
Like the ADV dub kind of gives you the feeling.
It does.
It's mostly meant to be, I don't know why I did that.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, the AD, like, she grows off in disgust, and it's like, be like, I'm never gonna be like, I can't believe I kissed for boredom.
Admittedly, it is kind of a stupid thing to do.
Well, it's teenagers being teenagers.
And it's Asuka who, it's her way or the highway.
That is true. That is so true. But like, it's this great episode where you get Masato. Masato is like, you have all these people who are getting married, engaged, and the whole bit, and she has this thing for Kaji, and she's feeling a little bit like an old maid. Yeah, exactly. And
wouldn't know a thing about what that feels like.
No, of course not. Of course not. So like this episode's very well done. Be like, you have this combination of like Asuka and her feeling for Kaji, and it's like, it's so great because Kaji just kind of blows her off because it's obviously the age gap, and be like, he's got his thing is Masato, and it's so well done, that scene where Kaji being the gentleman brings Masato back to the apartment, and she like Asuka's all over him. She's like, I smell peppermint.
This is after Asuka nearly killed Shinji with the kiss.
Yes.
And she's still kind of disgusted with herself more than she is with Shinji.
Yeah.
At that moment, and then the door opens and Shinji says, "Oh, it's is it Ryuji? Kaji. Oh, it's Kaji." And she goes, "Oh, really?" And she's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you girl.
It's like, it's like in a previous scene, it's like,
there was another word.
Kaji's the only man for me, and she says that to Shinji.
It's like, you have a crush go get a crush on someone your age.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying you need to be dating Shinji. That is not my ship.
Right.
I don't have any ships for this. These ships have sailed
a long time ago.
Yeah.
But, like there's such a, I mean, like it's the idea of like the title of the show, the title of the episode is where you have these women, these female characters throughout the show are like pining or longing after a guy, and they want to embrace him and love him and that kind of stuff. But you find very shortly that like Asuka like her affections are not being I want to say correlated, but that's the wrong word.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're not being returned in kind.
Unrequited.
There we go. Unrequited. And but oh my gosh, it's so well done. And then you get this big reveal that Kaji is. It's like, oh, there's this big thing that he shows Masato, and it's like, oh, what is this? We don't know what it is.
It's the LCL reactor. That's what it says on the sign. LCL reactor. Or generator or something to that effect.
Yeah, generator.
It's supposed to be, this is where all the LCL comes from, and they're not wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
They just aren't telling you how it's got, where they're getting it from.
That's true. Is it? I can't remember. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the one where we see Ray in the tube? Is that this episode?
At the very end.
Yeah, very end.
It was because she at one point early as it's getting close to the end of the episode, they're back in school the next day, and he wants to get the teacher wants to get a girl to read the next part for him. Calls on Ray. Suddenly remembers, oh yeah, she's not here.
Yeah,
and then I don't know if he calls anybody else because we go, oh, she's not here. I wonder where she is.
Oh,
and she's in, and we see her in the tube, and I'm going, is that Ray or is that a clone of Ray?
Yeah,
it's because I'm having a feeling that video I showed you back when we first started this may have had more inside references than I realized.
Yeah, just maybe a little bit. So that scene in particular where the teacher's calling upon Ayanami to read, and you get these like both Shinji and Asuka are both kind of looking very sheepish. Like they don't know what's going on, but they're both maybe kind of still embarrassed of what happened the night before with the kiss.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. Oh my gosh, this is a really good episode. It starts to really deep and dig into things, and I love the next episode. It's so well done. So let's get into episode.
Yeah, let's get into the next one.
Yeah,
the sickness unto death, and then ... or splitting of the breast.
That's an interesting title.
It's an interesting title.
Yes.
Directed by Kazuya Tsurumaki and written by Hideaki Anno and Hirishi Yamaguchi. Getting into this, the summary for this episode. A bizarre angel possessing a spherical shadow in the air and a Dirac C-type body on the ground absorbs Shinji and Ava 1 while Nerve searches for a means of destroying the angel, even if that means killing Shinji as well. Shinji, languishing inside the entry plug, ponders his role as a pilot and his relationship with the people in his life.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that it's very appropriate that I started playing Persona 3 Reload this week. Because there's a lot of similar themes.
Yeah. So
let me finish. Getting into the trivia. The angel in this one is apparently named Lele.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find out what that was a reference to. But Lele is an extremely bizarre entity that exists in a pocket dimension explained only by higher order physics theories. Initially, Lele appears to be a floating sphere with a warped black and white color pattern that suddenly appears over Tokyo 3. However, Lele's real body is actually what appears to be a shadow on the ground. The manifestation of Lele's body in our dimension is 680 meters wide, but only 3 nanometers thick. The floating sphere is just the shadow it casts in our dimension.
Yes.
Because it possesses an inverted AT field. And I don't know where I'm getting all this from Ava Geeks, by the way.
Yeah.
And some of this information may be coming from later in the series. I will admit, because I don't know what to edit out of this and what not to. I did edit some things out because it's very obvious that would be important in another episode.
Mm-hmm.
But It can absorb any material from our dimension inside of its body, which apparently is called a Diraxy. A Diraxy is a vacuum-like pocket dimension from which there is no escape. And this is a real theory.
Yeah.
This is not made up for this show. This is a real thing physicists apparently believed in. It's a real scientific term, though it's not fully explained on screen. It is a theoretical model of the vacuum of an infinite sea of particles possessing negative energy that was invented by the British physicist Paul Dirac in 1930.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Laylay's striped appearance visually corresponds to the younger Shinji's striped shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Gee, I wonder if there's a connection.
Maybe.
Shinji attacks Laylay with a pistol that appears to be an Ava-sized version of the IMI Desert Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only time in the series this weapon is shown. Also, Asuka uses the sonic glaive axe to climb up a building and escape the shadow. And this axe is never seen again for the remainder of the series. According to that.
Yeah.
The Fly Me to the Moon in this one begins with a trio vocal interlude that is in Japanese, and the second half of it is a normal orchestra.
Huh.
The Japanese voices, and they're the ones who are doing the singing later, are the Japanese voices for Asuka, Rei, and Misato. The English translations of those phrases are, "Hey, you want a kiss? Why don't you become one with me? Who are you? Loneliness. It has become one in mind and body. It is a very comfortable feeling. Pleasure. Sky of reality. Cruel strangers. Do you want me? Do you love me?"
Wow.
Fill my heart with song. That's where the song comes back in.
Fair.
And I'm going, See, when I first heard that, when I was going, because I have been going back and listening to the ending of this song, because this is not in the Netflix version, unfortunately.
Sad.
Because and honestly, I think I understand why Netflix didn't pay for this. But I am going back and watching this on YouTube. And I first heard that, I thought, did they just start the recording early and threw this stuff in here? For no good reason? It's like, are they talking about what they need to do for their next take on this song? And start halfway through it? That's just weird.
Yeah.
And then I looked up what they said, and I went, it's got Hideaki Anno written all over it. So, yeah, that's what I've got for the trivia for this one.
I gotcha. Again, this is another brilliant episode where you have Shinji has gotten a little too confident.
For once in his life! Like, Shinji has gotten in the robot in this episode.
Yes.
And he's about to pay the price.
Yeah, there's the point where his test scores are better because obviously there's something going on. We know this.
Yeah, something's going on. We aren't going to tell you what.
Yeah.
Let's just say it probably was not a coincidence that we went to his mother's grave last episode.
True. And the fact that they oh crap, what's the scientist, what's her name? Katsuragi, yeah. Yeah, Katsuragi.
Can't think of her first name.
Yeah, Katsuragi mentions it'd be like as long as Ava Unit 1 is still intact. Like, right. Not caring if Shinji died or not. We
don't care about Shinji. We want Ava to stay intact.
Yeah.
And I'm going, but he's the only one that truly can pilot it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Rei could.
Yeah.
Asuka can't.
No.
We already know that from the compatibility tests.
Yes.
But honestly, as shady as Gendo is, he probably really doesn't want his son piloting. He probably wants it to be Rei. But
probably.
Especially if my theory on what Rei is going to come true. But we'll save that for when that happens.
Yeah, we'll figure it out
Let's just say this is all going to get very warped and twisted.
Of course.
It's Hideaki Anno.
Yeah, it's Ava. So we get this Shinji's about like his confidence has gone through the roof, and he's being very bold how he says things. It's like, well, I guess it's the man's job now. And he's just like, oh, dude, you're gonna get killed.
Shinji, you're learning the wrong lessons from Asuka.
but it's more like his
Yes, you needed to be more confident, but not that confident.
Yeah, exactly.
Quit saying misogynistic things.
You're making us look bad, bro.
Yes.
But it's
And you got your comeuppance.
yeah, exactly. Like his
You fell down the Looney Tunes infinite hole.
yes. Minus his trying to kill you.
Well, that too.
That's true. So
Sorry, go ahead.
So we have this like where he gets sucked into the angel, and we have this like all the characters are trying to figure out a way to save him, and obviously Ritsuko is like, it's hey, this is part of the mission. This is this and this and this, and we get Masato. Masato is like starting to understand, be like, I'm not being told everything I'm supposed to. What is going on? What is Nerve doing? Be like, I don't even know who I'm working for anymore.
Yeah.
And there again, we get this big revelation from the last episode. And so now she's questioning what Nerve is doing, what is Gendo doing, what is everybody doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is her part in this? And then you get
what is she a part of?
What is she a part of?
Because one of her things that she has been fighting up until the last episode is she's angry at her father for dying for Nerve, or as she continually pronounced it in the episode previous, Nerve. At least in the Netflix version.
That's the Netflix dub.
I'm going, it's Nerve. Everyone else in this dub is saying Nerve. Why are you saying Nerve? And yet she went and worked for them also.
Yeah.
So she is probably questioning what on earth is she doing? What are they hiding? Especially since she is the guardian for both Shinji and Asuka.
Okay. Yeah.
These may not be biologically her children, but she does feel like she's their mother.
Yes. Yeah, and I'll get to that in just a minute. So, like, we get the... Like, they're trying to figure out what's happened. We're getting these... It's like, oh, as long as the Ava's fine, as long as he doesn't attack, we get that. And then we get this... We get the perspective of Shinji where everything's trying to break down, and he literally breaks down. And I love this moment where he's screaming. Like,
He finally goes berserk. Last time we had a berserk moment in this anime, it was the Ava going berserk while he was knocked cold.
Yeah.
Now he's the one going berserk and doing the same thing by somehow cracking the shadow of this thing in half and crawling out of it.
Let me finish what I was going to try to say.
Sorry.
Like, they're a great point. Great point. My point is where he's starting to lose it because he knows me, like, he could die at any minute. He's over here screaming, like, help, Masato, get me out of here, help me, Masato. And he starts listening to, like, Masato. It's not Ayanami, it's Asuka is the second person he calls out. It's like everybody else, and finally he calls his dad out when he's just like in desperation, and like you realize me like the suit's failing, the ACL starting to break down, oxygen, be like, and the point where a certain spirit helps him out, and we wonder who that is.
I did not mention who that was, other than the one teaser I left in there. But it's very interesting who that was probably and what that might actually mean for the series.
Yes.
Because we are all pretty much aware that Nerve is not exactly the most up and up company.
Yeah.
Organization on the planet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's that point where the Ava breaks loose, and there's also a point where when Shinji is confronting himself in the railroad cart, where it's be like they're doing
himself.
Yeah, he's confronting himself, or like the whatever it is, whatever either it's angel.
It's the angel.
Yeah, it's the angel.
It's the angel.
Yeah,
it's like painfully obvious.
Yeah, it's very obvious.
And I'm watching it going, that's the same shirt.
Yeah.
At first I was like, okay, is that... Because I'm somewhat aware of the Ava secrets about how they made that, I was thinking, is that supposed to be his mother?
Yeah.
In a small kid form? And then I realized, no, he's wearing a striped shirt that is very reminiscent of the thing from the beginning. This is the angel talking to him. Okay.
Yeah.
Granted, I assumed they were intelligent, but I didn't think they actually cared about humanity. So,
yeah. And also, you get the scene where he's talking with the angel itself, and we get these flashbacks or newsreels of be like, oh, Gendo like killed his mother, and he's like, no, that's not true.
Yeah, maybe killed his mother.
Maybe
we don't know.
We don't know yet. But we get this, and then we get they realize, oh, Shinji at this point is probably gone, and then the Ava literally just rips out of the shop.
Yeah.
And this
like
bloody...
like a chicken coming out of his egg.
Exactly.
Which, when I started making that reference, I didn't really think it through, because Shinji was a chicken at the beginning.
Yeah.
And now he's... Well, in this episode, not being the chicken is what got him in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but,
so we get this amazing episode, and then we get I don't know what kind of time lapse, but we get where Shinji's awake, and there's Ayanami checking on him, and with the door, there's Asuka. There's Asuka, who's obviously she's concerned about Shinji.
She's concerned, but doesn't want to show it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Rei is at least concerned for him, but we still have no idea how to read her.
Yeah.
So we don't really
she's
know
a doll.
why. Yes, she's basically.
Yeah.
We don't really know why she's concerned, or if she's actually concerned for him or concerned for the project.
Yeah.
I'm convinced it's the project.
Maybe.
But earlier in the other episode, Shinji asked her pretty much, how do I talk to my dad, since you apparently can get along with him?
Yeah.
She doesn't give him an answer there either, and then she's in the helicopter when he leaves.
Yeah.
And then we see her in the tube at the end of that one.
Yeah.
And now she's involved here, obviously, because she's a Neva pilot. No worse for wear for why she was in that tube.
Uh-huh.
And then she's concerned for Shinji at the end of this.
Yeah.
And going, but why? Granted, she was concerned when they were, standing around yelling at each other, not knowing what to do to get Shinji back. But I'm still going, and didn't she slap Asuka?
She did slap her.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so you have some respect for Shinji, probably more than Gendo does.
Probably.
But
I wonder why.
I wonder why. Huh. We'll find out eventually.
We'll find out eventually. And I did notice, and I think it's this episode or the previous episode, where we are introduced to the dummy system.
They mentioned it.
They mentioned the dummy system.
And we heard about, we saw them testing the dummy plugs during the episode with the angel that was hacking into the Magi computer.
Yeah.
So we knew they're doing something with that, which I'm assuming is take the humans out of the equation.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. But we'll discover that in the next 2 episodes.
I'm sure we will. Well, yeah, considering one was like, okay, now there's a 4th child, but Ava Unit 4 is no longer around. This is all I'm getting off of Netflix's summary thing. I'm going, so was there a 5th children too? Because the children are 1 number ahead of the Ava unit number. And we'll find that out when we get there. But I'm looking past the... I was double checking episode titles to make sure I had this right, because I know End of Evangelion technically has 2 episode numbers attached to it.
Yeah.
And I was afraid I had mixed it in with the regular one, because we obviously don't need to do it twice.
Yeah.
And I was double checking that, and I saw some of the other, looking closely again at some of the other episode names that I hadn't looked at in like over a year when I originally wrote the list up. And I'm going, okay, so we got some interesting things coming up.
Yes.
I think even though where I'm getting a lot of my notes did not mention we were entering another arc yet, I think we have entered another arc. We are out of the action arc, and we're into... I'm just going to call it the end of the world arc, because that looks like where we're going. Third Impact looks like it's very much on its way.
Yeah, possibly.
The question is, whose fault is it? As if we couldn't guess.
Yeah. We shall see. We shall see.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
Next week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are getting into some interesting episodes.
The 4th child.
Yes. The 4th to be qualified, and life and death decisions. So join us next week for that, along with 9. And I guess this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at ggeorge759. His Twitter at ggeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming, on YouTube at Cellcast, on Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
You remind me of the babe.
What babe?
The babe with the power.
What power?
The power of voodoo.
Who do?
You do.
What?
You remind me of the babe.